welcome to the spooky live stream. I've got my little Tower of Terror hat on, and I've got a Hocus Pocus spirit jersey. I actually don't own any Halloween costumes, so we haven't gone fully Halloween. Oh, what's going on here? Wait a minute. Is this sideways again? Let me have a little look. It does this every single time now. I set it up to be this way, and then it goes, no, I'm going to force you to go portrait. I don't know if this is because YouTube I really want you to push shorts, but it's irritating because I always set it up correctly every single time it doesn't work. And it's very, very annoying. Very, very annoying. So sorry about that. We're gonna have to go portrait again. But that seems to be what YouTube are doing. I think maybe next time what I might do is I might not pre-set up the live stream. I'll let you know about it and then just on the night go live because YouTube just won't be having it. It seems a bit. But today we're going to do a spooky live stream. So we're going to be talking all about Halloween in the Disney parks, what to expect, what's on offer at all of the parks around the world, and then also what to watch on Disney Plus when it comes to films, TV, things that are kind of scary, things that are more spooky rather than scary. So I hope you're all ready. I've already dropped one of the things on the floor, so I'm going to have to duck down in a minute and get that. But it's always chaos. The start is always chaos. It's so good. So thank you so much for joining me. Do let me know if you have any traditions that you do on Halloween. Are there certain things you always do? Do you go to a party? Do you watch certain films? Do you like to dress up for Halloween? What are your favourite Halloween things? Have you been to Disney for Halloween? What did you think? I do love that Disney starts Halloween very early. So places like Disney World, August. You're getting ready to be spooky in August, which I kind of love. So when you visit that time of year, you get to have the full experience already. And it's interesting, we're going to talk about how some parks in the world, they do the Halloween parties, which are like extra ticketed events. Other parks, it's just the park becomes Halloween. And when you're visiting, everyone gets to experience it. You don't have to pay extra, which I think is really, really, really cool. So do let me know what you think about these things. Would you like to go to them? Hi, how are you doing, Berlin? How are you? Speaking of Halloween trips, Berlin's just about to go to Disneyland Paris, and like we need to hear all about this trip. We need to know all about it. So it's so exciting to be visiting in spooky season. How have you been? And yeah, I love that you can buy the bellhop hat. I think it's such a fun little accessory. I did also bring some ears, and I was like, I always do ears, but these ones are kind of cool because they actually do glow in the dark. And I have these in my bedroom, and every night when I turn the light off, these are glowing. So it is exciting to know that these actually do glow in the dark, which is very, very fun. But I love that your suitcase is almost packed. That's so exciting, isn't it? When you know I'm about to head off, I'm about to go to Disney. It's going to be the absolute best. And I love that you've been so excited for this trip for so long, and now it's here. It's here. And it's crazy because it is so close to spooky season. Like, what an amazing time to be visiting. So absolutely love that. I'm going to duck down and get this piece of paper because it's got all my notes on and I can't believe I immediately dropped it. Okay, back. I'm back. Okay. We're going to have to start doing less chaotic live streams. Maybe this is why when I'm doing the planning videos it takes me so long because like with the planning videos I like to kind of write out what I want to talk about. Kind of not do a script, but like bullet points of like these are the topics I want to touch upon. Then I'll record it and be like, oh my god, what am I doing? What am I doing? And it takes ages to edit. So maybe I'm a chaotic person. But I thought we would jump in with I put some questions up on Instagram, and one of the questions was one that I received was amazing. It was from Chris, and it was, if you were to give a Disney attraction a spooky makeover, which would it be? And I think this is an excellent question. My immediate thought, which I was like, this could be creepy if you did it correctly, would be It's a Small World. Lots of people are creeped out by dolls. I feel like they could add spooky music, add mood lighting, dress up some of the dolls. They could also have like scare actors. And where you're in a boat, you can't really go anywhere. You're just going to have to sit through it. And if you're scared, you're just going to have to very slowly go past whatever's scaring you. I think that could be really fun. I also think it would be fun if Tower of Terror had scare actors in the queue kind of in the Halloween season, because I love when you're waiting to get in the elevator how the cast members are so interactive, so scary. But if throughout the whole queue you had like people jumping out at you or like spooky people walking past, I think it would be so much fun. So I think there's so much scope that they could do with this. And one of the things I love most is when they have scare actors. So for example, Pirates of the Caribbean during Halloween events, at least in Disneyland Paris and Disney World, have scare actors, and it's so good. It's so good. There was an amazing piece of footage from when me and Peter went to the annual pass holders Halloween party last year, and we didn't know there was going to be actors in Pirates of the Caribbean, and it was terrifying and brilliant. It was so much fun. So absolutely love that. And what rides would you like to see have a spooky makeover? Because I do love when they do overlays, and one thing that we're going to touch upon is the Nightmare Before Christmas Haunted Mansion overlay. There's 2 parks in the world that do this, and it's incredible. And I love Haunted Mansion, Phantom Manor, all of the different versions. It's one of my favourite attractions, and I was like, it's perfection. But I don't want to be sacrilegious, but I think like the holiday overlay might even be better. Like, it's so good, because I was thinking, oh well, it would detract away from it, and like I like Nightmare Before Christmas, but I'm not like a massive fan. But I was so blown away by it. So I do love that they will do this. And yeah, I suppose we better dive in. Let's start diving into the Disney parks around the world and what you can expect if you're visiting during the Halloween season. So first up, we're going to start with Disney World. And Disney World, they will have decorations up. So in Magic Kingdom, you will see Halloween decor. There'll also be treats available in the daytime. You don't have to just go to Mickey's Not So Scary to experience them. Of course, iconic popcorn buckets everyone wants to buy. However, the big thing you are going to go for is Mickey's Not So Scary. So this is an extra ticketed event. It's held 3 nights a week, sometimes 4, I think. Starts in August. Absolutely wild. And it's so much fun. At Mickey's Not So Scary, you get trick-or-treat trails, you get the Boo to You parade, you get the Hocus Pocus show, there's special Halloween fireworks, there's character meet and greets of rare characters and also characters in Halloween costumes. There's a lot going on. And what I would say is, if you're planning to do just one night, then you need to pick what is your priority. So whenever I've been, to me, it's always been the shows. So I want to make sure that I do the parade, Hocus Pocus, and the fireworks. Because of that, I've never ever met characters, because the character meets are very long, like to the point where some of them are like 3 hours long. The party's 5 hours long, so you could very easily not meet many characters at all if you focus on the characters. So I think it's work out what's most special for you and doing that. I know some people that will actually do 2 nights at Mickey's Not So Scary, so they can do one where it's the shows, one where it's characters. So that's kind of a good idea. But I would go in thinking, what would you like to do? And of course, one of my favourite things is seeing everyone dressed up. Absolutely incredible. Hi guys, how are you all doing? Thank you so much for joining us. So exciting, we're going to be going to Disney World in 3 days. That is absolutely incredible. That is wild. That's like, what an amazing time to be visiting. And you're going to be there for Halloween. Like, it's going to be amazing. Because I do know that Halloween also runs a little bit after Halloween, which is so much fun. So you're like still getting a taste of it. And are you going to be there for 2 weeks? Because you're going to get that whole Halloween transition to Christmas, which is like the perfect time. Hi Natalie, it's so good to see you. Thank you for joining. But yes, I'm hoping you're going to get to do the Christmas as well as Halloween, because I actually think that's like a sweet spot of visiting Disney. Our 3-week trip, what an amazing time. That's like the dream. Going to Orlando for 3 weeks is so incredible, because you could just fit so much in but also be relaxed, which is so good. Hi number 1 soap, how are you doing? Thank you for joining us. But yes, are you going to be going to Mickey's Not So Scary whilst you are out in Orlando? But yeah, the thing I love is that you can dress up for this event. There are certain things that you can't wear masks, stuff like that. But it's the one time adults can go into Disney dressed up. And I have to say, people go all out. It's like Broadway level costumes. Like, I didn't even know how to cope, because I actually found it quite hard to decide what to wear, because I was like, I don't want something that has lots of layers because of the heat. I don't want to have loads and loads of makeup because, again, the heat. So I was like, what is going to be like a cool costume to wear that's also easy to do? Meanwhile, everyone else was like looking like they were about to hit the film set. And I was like, I grew up in the era of British Halloween where you went trick-or-treating and you had a bin bag on and you were a witch. That was the level. So to see people with these really detailed, amazing costumes is great. And I love to see people in groups and they would theme their outfits. So maybe they would all be from like the same film, stuff like that, which I absolutely loved. So if you were going to go, what would your Halloween costume be? Because I need to know. I was so excited I'm going to be doing Jollywood, Mickey's Christmas Party and Halloween Horror Nights. What a lovely mix. Like 2 Christmas parties and Halloween Horror Nights, which absolutely obsessed with. We're going to come on to that as well, which could be so good. Going as Yoda, what an iconic costume choice. That's absolutely incredible. That's going to be so much fun. That's great. And I think that's so creative as well. So absolutely loving that. But what I think's really special about Mickey's Not So Scary is how incredible the shows are. Like Boo to You Parade, amazing and really long as well. And there's so many rare characters. Like getting to see the Gravediggers from Haunted Mansion, seeing so many villains. You get to see like Wreck-It Ralph characters, Pirates characters, the Headless Horseman. Like it's really, really remarkable. And the song will be stuck in your head forever. Once you've heard it once, that's it. You will forever know the Boo to You Parade song. And the Hocus Pocus show is absolutely incredible. If you love the Disney villains and the Sanderson sisters, it's awesome. It's probably about 20 or so minutes. There's typically 2 showings, and what I would say is if you're adults, try and go to the later showings of the parade and the Hocus Pocus show, because obviously the families will want to go to the earlier ones because they probably won't stay until midnight. But if you're adults and you go to the later shows, it's a bit quieter. Like the final Hocus Pocus show tends to be at midnight, so you'll be the last people in the parks, get to watch the show and then head home, which is absolutely fantastic. They also have ride overlays. So like I say, Pirates has real life pirates, and the Teacups has like special lighting, and so does Space Mountain. So that's always fun. With these events, there tends to be shorter queue times. So it's also a really good time to be on the rides. Most of the rides when I was there were walk-ons, apart from things like Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, although it was shorter than in the daytime. Pirates was longer than in the daytime because of the live action Pirates, but it's definitely worth it because it's so good. And also you get the fireworks. There's only one fireworks showing, but what tends to happen is I think it's the parade, Hocus Pocus, then the fireworks. After the fireworks, a lot of families will leave because they're like, okay, we've kind of done what we wanted to do, we'll move on. So then if you're adults going and you want to do the later showings, beforehand you can be doing the trick and treat trails, the rides, character meets, then go to the fireworks and the rest of the shows afterwards, which is perfect. It's so fun. Oh, I love that Berlin's struggling to get everything in the suitcase. It's very hard, isn't it? Because there's so many things you want to take, and this time of year as well you need layers. So it definitely becomes more difficult. Yes, I'm so glad it was the best night. Yeah, it's just so good. It's such a fun event. It's definitely worthwhile doing. The only reason I didn't go to Mickey's Not So Scary this year actually was because the past 2 times I've been this time of year, so 2018 and 2022, I went to the Halloween party, had an absolute blast. However, the party is the same every single year. Same shows, same parades, mostly the same character meet and greets. So I was like, okay, this year I'll give it a rest and go to Halloween Horror Nights instead, which is obviously the other big Halloween event in Orlando, and that is amazing. If you like actual horror films and like proper scares, Halloween Horror Nights cannot be beat. It was so good. It's like 10 houses, 5 scare zones, there's a show, loads of snacks available. The scares are proper. It's really frightening. I loved it. I screamed, I covered my eyes, I ran, but I was having the best time. And it's also nice because it's definitely a more adult event. Now, there are some children there, but they're very few and far between because obviously the nature of the event is not very child friendly. But it does seem to be like the kids that are there are really into it, so they're really cool. They're not kind of like screaming and crying, because obviously that would be awful if people were taking their kids and they were terrified. But these kids that were there seem to really enjoy it and were really into it. And I absolutely love it. So if you're looking for something that's more scary, very much horror, and very more adult, I would say definitely do Halloween Horror Nights because it's so good. And I'm so excited, Natalie, you're gonna go. I can't wait to hear what you think of all the houses. Which one was your favourite? My favourite by far was Insidious. Really, really frightening. I also love the Insidious films. And a lot of people have said that that was the scariest house in the past 10 years. So I was very lucky to visit it when I was there. And I also loved Goblin's Feast. I loved it. And what's really nice about Halloween Horror Nights is the way you experience it is quite different in each house, because in some houses you end up being the person that gets the scares, and then you're just like in the moment you're like, I'm terrified. If you're me, you're terrified. Other houses, the people just in front of you get the scares, and then you can really take in the storyline more. So I really loved that you kind of got the mix of all the different experiences. So if you are in Orlando and you want the full Halloween experience, I would do both if you have the ability. If you're looking for something that's more family friendly or not as frightening, Mickey's Not So Scary is incredible, particularly if you love Disney villains. But if you want the full scare effect, then you have to go to Halloween Horror Nights. Next, we're going to hop over to Disneyland, where they have Oogie Boogie Bash. Now, this is something I am desperate to go to. This is held in Disney California Adventure, very different to Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. Interestingly, again, it starts in September. It might even start at the very end of August, actually. But the tickets will sell out within like an hour of going on sale, sometimes within minutes. So that's very different to Mickey's Not So Scary. Mickey's Not So Scary, some dates, like the opening night, will sell out very quickly, and Halloween night as well. And the other nights will start to sell out. So I think this year, all of the nights were sold out by September, or like during September. But it's not like if you don't order it like the second it goes on sale, you won't be able to go to Mickey's Not So Scary. Whereas Oogie Boogie Bash, it's like fastest finger on the draw. It's one of those like you log on and you're like, I've got to get the tickets, and then you wait in a queue for like 4 hours, and then you hope you get tickets. So it goes very, very quickly. But very different event. So again, you do get similar things, like you get treat trails, there's a parade, but then there's also the Villains Grove, which is what I am most interested in. It looks incredible. So basically there's this area where there's normally like a trail that's through like the woodlands, and for Halloween they plant villains throughout it. And what I think so good and works so well is that it's basically you just walk through it, and then the villains interact with you as you're walking past. So it's not like a meet and greet where you stop, wait for ages and ages to meet someone, then you go up and have like a little interaction. It's like a constantly moving like line of people, and you get these interactions as you walk past. Also, in the treat trails, you will have Disney villains you can meet. And what I think is really, really cool about Oogie Boogie Bash is you get a lot of characters you don't get anywhere else. So you'll have people like Madam Mim or Sid from Toy Story, like all of these characters you don't really see, which I think is so fun because they're just so rare. And I just think it looks next level. So again, it is an extra ticketed event. You do have to pay more to go to it. However, Disneyland Park, that you don't have to pay. So there you will get Halloween decor. There's also a Halloween fireworks show. That's all included in the price. You don't have to pay any extra for that. Just if you want to go to Oogie Boogie Bash, and it literally looks incredible. Like, I'm obsessed. I need to go to the Villains Grove. It looks so good. And I do like that in Disneyland, because two parks are kind of celebrating Halloween, you can either pay or not. You've got the option, so you can do as much or as little Halloween as you fancy, which is really, really cool. Over in Disneyland Paris, we of course have the Halloween parade, you have the characters in their Halloween costumes, you have Halloween decor, Halloween treats, but it's all included in the price. So they don't have a part. They used to have a party. The past couple of years they haven't had it. I hope they bring it back because it's super super fun. It used to only be on Halloween night, and then if Halloween wasn't on a weekend, they'd also do like a weekend party, just as close to Halloween as possible. So I really hope they bring it back. But I do like that if you visit, you are going to get a taste of Halloween. You don't have to pay extra. Last year, when I went with Peter and we did the annual pass holder party, and it just happened to be Halloween themed, it was so fun because, again, the characters were just dotted around the park and you could just walk past and interact with them. And I prefer that so much more than meet and greets, because meet and greets, you're just stood in a queue for a really, really long time. Then you kind of have like a quick conversation, a photo, and go. Whereas if they're just out and about and you interact with them, it's so good. And again, they had lots of rare characters. Phantom Manor was incredible. Like, so much fun. The bride was out walking around and there was all fog and it was really eerie. They also had like scare actors in the queue. There was the pirates in Pirates of the Caribbean. It was so good. So I do hope that they will bring back the full Halloween party at some point. I don't know if at the moment, I feel like all of the parties at Disneyland Paris have stopped. I don't know if that's a budgetary reason or if because, you know, the Studios Park, there's a lot of construction. Maybe they're just like, until the parks are sorted out, we'll temporarily pause these things. I don't know what's going on. But hopefully they will come back. Ashley, so exciting, we're getting ready to go to Disneyland now. That's so amazing. Have you ever been to Oogie Boogie Bash? What is it like? We need to know because it sounds incredible. This is a good point, Berlin. Do you take your own hairdryer or rely on the hotel one? Which is a problem, isn't it? And they're those really not like great hair dryers. They're like the ones that it's just like a big open hole and you're like, okay, I don't know if this is doing anything. But I think it's that thing. Put all of the essentials in, and then if you can fit the hairdryer, you're in luck. And if not, you're like, do you know what? I can chance it. It'll be absolutely fine. Yes, I love that, Chris. You're like, can you please take my luggage to my room? But yeah, love a spooky bellhop. I think working at Tower of Terror must be one of the most fun experiences as a cast member. Because the fact that you get to play so much and interact with guests and kind of be spooky. The only thing I'd find hard is staying in character. Because I'd find something funny and I'd laugh and then it's like, I've ruined the illusion. But I think it must be one of the most fun rides to work on. This is such a good point, Ashley. You haven't been able to bring yourself to buy a ticket for Oogie Boogie Bash because you've got a magic key, which does make sense because if you can visit the parks so often, it is just like, oh, I don't need the party ticket for all of the park stuff. But yeah, it'd be fun to see. I'm just obsessed with this the Villains Grove. I'm just obsessed. I need to experience it. But interestingly, Disneyland Paris, yeah, at the moment, no Halloween party, but hopefully they will bring it back. But it is nice that at the moment you don't have to pay any extra. You just get to have a taste of Halloween, especially like the parade and stuff and the characters in their costumes included in the price. Tokyo, they do a few things. Again, not an extra ticketed event. In fact, only the US parks do extra ticketed events. All the other parks, it is included in the price. So in Tokyo, there's the Into the Frenzy parade. They have a Halloween fireworks show. They have the Haunted Mansion holiday overlay, so the Nightmare Before Christmas overlay, which is incredible. And of course, they have decorations and snacks. This Haunted Mansion overlay, literally incredible. Like, Nightmare Before Christmas, obviously it works really, really well, but it's such a good storyline and done so well, and I'm just obsessed with it. So if you ever have the opportunity to visit Disneyland or Tokyo and do it, you're going to have the best time. Because I was like, oh, I was a bit upset when I went to Disneyland that I wasn't going to get to do the normal Haunted Mansion experience. Although I would imagine it's kind of similar to Disney World, but they're all slightly different. So I was like, oh, I'm not going to have that. But I did not need to worry because it was totally brilliant and it didn't take anything away. So I love that Tokyo also have that, which is so, so good. Shanghai, they have a Halloween character cavalcade. They have Halloween decors They have villain meet and greets. They have a villain balcony walk. So if you want to see all of the villains at once, that's absolutely perfect. They have the Villains Club, which is a show, which sounds amazing, and it's the sort of club I would want to go to. They also have Treasure Cove pirates. So they have these ghost pirates that will be walking around, interacting with you. So I love that this is like free, but there seems to be a lot that you get if you go to Shanghai. And I was interested to see if the Asian parks did anything, because I know in China they're quite superstitious about ghosts. So stuff like they don't have a haunted mansion there. They have Mystic Manor, but they had to create its own storyline because they wanted to be culturally sensitive to the fact that like people are very superstitious about ghosts. So it was interesting to hear what is on offer. But in Hong Kong, you also have the House of the Villains show, which I love that they're like, we'll do a nod to Cruella de Vil, but also make it a title. And they also have the Let's Get Wicked show, which I've heard is supposed to be incredible. And what's interesting is both of those shows you can actually premiere access. So even though the event is free, if you wanted guarantee seats to those shows, you could pay for it. So you just have a bit more time in the park, not having to kind of get there super early. And I don't know, because I haven't been, if you were to just queue up, if you'd be able to see both shows in one night. So maybe you could pay for one, queue for the other, or if you want an easy life, just pay for both, which is super handy. Something they do which I think is incredible, and I'm surprised other Disney parks aren't doing this, is they do a Nightmare Before Christmas character dining meal. Absolutely incredible. I can't believe we don't have that. Do we think that with Magic Kingdom having a villains land, are they going to do a character dining with villains? I've got my fingers crossed. That's what I want. I think that would be absolutely incredible. But it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. But when I heard that, I was like, I can't believe no one else is doing that. It's absolutely wild to me. And also they have obviously characters in their Halloween costumes, but it also includes Duffy and his pals. And this is the thing, like, my friend Derek was over in Shanghai and Hong Kong, and I love Duffy Mania. I love how much people love Duffy, but he was like to the point where everyone's like, Mickey who? Like, you barely see Mickey Mouse. He's irrelevant. We don't care about him. It's all about Duffy. So I love that you get to see them in their Halloween costumes, which I think is so fun. They also have a trick or treat trail, and which I think is amazing, considering that all of this is like included. Obviously, you'd have to pay for the character dining meal, but I'm like, they're really going all out in Hong Kong. So I feel like if you like anything slightly spooky, and that's what I do like about Disney, is they're not going to make it terrifying. Everyone's going to be able to enjoy these events. Or if you're just visiting this time of year, you're going to have a great time, because they are like, we're all going to have a little bit of a touch of Halloween, which is very exciting. But have you been to any Halloween events in any of the Disney parks? So far, I've only done Disneyland Paris and Disney World, so I'm very keen to kind of explore more. And I think this is the thing that's really hard actually about planning a trip to the Asian parks. What time of year do you visit? Do you visit when it's a quiet time of year? Do you visit when it's a season, like Halloween? It's so hard to pick, isn't it? It's so hard to pick because there's so many things to experience. And you also know, you're probably thinking in your head, like everyone does for every Disney trip, it will be like a once in a lifetime thing. And then inevitably, you know, a few years later you go back. It's impossible to go once, but it'd be very interesting to see how these parks do. I would love to visit them during the Halloween season, and I also know that Universal in Asia do Halloween Horror Nights, and again it's quite different. So you know, I feel like you've got to do all of them. The other good thing is if you are in Disneyland, you can do Oogie Boogie Bash. You also have Knott's Berry Farm have a scare event. You have Halloween Horror Nights over in Hollywood. So again, you could really rack up a lot of different scares. And I also think there'll probably be a lot of, in the like California area, these more like local haunts, which I think it'd be really fun to kind of experience that as well. So I'm like, maybe I need to do a Halloween trip. I'm desperate to go to Oogie Boogie Bash, but maybe we need to do like a proper like long trip to experience as many scares as possible. I've never become obsessed with these. Like, I loved Mickey's Not So Scary because I was like, it's not that scary, as the title would suggest. But now I've been to Halloween Horror Nights and I'm obsessed. Went to Fright Nights here at Thorpe Park. Interestingly, I would actually say Fright Nights in Thorpe Park was scarier than Halloween Horror Nights. It's definitely smaller scale, not as big budget. Like Halloween Horror Nights, you can tell the production value is huge. Tons and tons of scare actors, these massive films, like 10 houses, 5 scare zones, like amazing. Fright Nights, it's 4 mazes, they call them. I've had a debate with someone about this already because I was like, but technically they're inside houses and they're not mazes, so why is it called a maze? But it is what it is. But amazing, because the interesting thing is in Halloween Horror Nights, a lot of the scares are timed to coordinate with sound. Fright Nights is not that. Like the actors will chase you, they will come right up to you, they will follow you. Like it's really frightening. So if you can survive something like that, you'll be absolutely fine at Halloween Horror Nights, and you'll be unfazed at Mickey's Not So Scary. You'll be like, what's this? It's not even a problem. Oh, Ashley's given us some things we could go to. The Haunted Hayride, Queen Mary, lots of them. Yeah, this is the thing. I feel like that's like in my head. I always think, oh, Oogie Boogie Bash and Halloween Horror Nights, but there's gonna be loads in California, aren't there? And I'm like, it's gonna be a whole new world of experiences. I think that's so good, and I do like that we're starting to get it here because in the UK we've always had Halloween, but not really like scare events, and now it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Next year, I'd love to go to Tully's Farm. That's like the big one I'm hoping to go to. But so many fun things to do for Halloween. But yeah, do you have any Halloween traditions that you do? Do you watch certain films? Do you go to parties? Do you dress up? What are your Halloween traditions? I always watch Hocus Pocus every single year. And normally what I do is in October, I watch as many horror films as possible. I love going to the cinema because there'll be obviously loads of horror releases. I went to see Terrifier 3. I'm absolutely obsessed. I'm absolutely obsessed with Art the Clown. I can't cope. I haven't been able to stop thinking about it. Like, I need to go again. Like, luckily my friend's like, oh, I really want to see it. And I'm like, good, we're going. On Halloween night, one of the questions I actually have is, am I doing anything this Halloween? And I think I might go to the cinema because Heretic is coming out, which is a film with Hugh Grant as the lead in a horror film, which I never would have thought we would have seen. But it's supposed to be amazing. Love the idea of the storyline because he's at home and 2 Mormon missionaries knock on the door, or they might be Jehovah's Witnesses, and they're like, oh, can we talk to you about our beliefs? And he was like, yeah, come in. And then he does the switch up and he tries to convert them to his religion, which I'm assuming is something evil. And they basically are locked in this house and they can't get out. But I love the switcheroo. So I think that could be quite interesting. On Tuesday, I'm meant to be going to a Nightmare on Elm Street screening, which is going to be very fun. The problem is, I keep wanting to call it Nightmare Before Elm Street and do like a mashup. I'm like, it's definitely not called that. But I do love all those classic like 80s horror films. But I've also, every September, I do like a subscription to Shudder, which is an online streaming service, but they just have horror films. So I will watch as many things on Shudder as possible. And absolutely love it. You get loads of different types of horror film, loads that I've like never heard of. So I just love it. I will watch anything that is horror. It's so good. Yes, Sharon! I think Heretic sounds so interesting as a film, and apparently everyone says Hugh Grant is incredible in it, and I think it's going to be really nice actually to see him in a horror role, because you just do not expect it. So, absolutely very much excited for that. And that kind of also brings us on to Disney Plus, because if you're thinking of staying at home and you're wanting some like spooky season viewing, Disney Plus has loads. Something I really like is actually if you go to the little like spyglass search thing and click it, even without typing anything in, it will come up with the Halloween collection. So there you can see different TV shows, films, and something I really love about that is it also has all of the Halloween specials. So stuff like Modern Family, Simpsons, Family Guy, any of these TV shows that do Halloween specials, you can watch just the Halloween specials, which I think is so cool. And it's so easy to kind of see all of the Hollywood specials that are available. But of course, they also have lots of films and TV on offer. So I've written some down so that if you're thinking of what could I view, I can help you find out what you might want to watch on Disney Plus. So of course, Hocus Pocus is the number one. I'm obsessed with Hocus Pocus. Like I say, it's my tradition. Every single year I watch it. I never ever get bored. Wasn't such a fan of Hocus Pocus 2. Hocus Pocus 3. I thought Hocus Pocus 3 was coming out this year, but I'm assuming it's next year because I haven't heard anything about it, which I'm quite excited about because it's the story of the Sanderson sisters as kids. So obviously we saw them as kids in Hocus Pocus 2. Those actresses are coming back. I think that's going to be super, super fun. But you can't go wrong with Hocus Pocus. The first one, absolutely incredible. Muppets Haunted Mansion. As we've talked about a lot, particularly I've talked with Chris about this a lot, is Disney remaking things and films with the Muppets. No one wants live action remakes, but everyone would like Muppets. But this obviously was not a remake, it was actually an original storyline, but it's so fun. If you haven't seen it, Muppets Haunted Mansion is great. Really, really fun. Loads of references to the ride. And of course, all the incredible Muppets. It's so, so good. Of course, you also have 2 Haunted Mansion films. You have the original with Eddie Murphy, then you have the recent film. I really, really liked the recent film a lot. I wasn't going into it expecting much. Really loved it. Really, really enjoyed it. Thought it was so, so good. So if you haven't seen that yet, go check it out. But I love that there's also the original one with Eddie Murphy, so you can go see that too. Of course, you have classics like The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad. Love Mr. Toad. You get the glimpse of the Headless Horseman. You're getting all of that in an animation. It's absolutely incredible. Nightmare Before Christmas. Now, I think that's a Christmas film. I've put it on this list because loads of people will say, but it's nightmares. It's Halloween. I will die on the hill that it is a Christmas film. Let me know what you think. Do you think it's a Christmas film or a Halloween film? Because I'm convinced it is a Christmas film. But I've put it on this list just in case. A notable mention that it's not a Disney film, as in like traditional Disney, but something I absolutely loved is The Menu with Ralph Fiennes. Brilliant. It's kind of it's not like outright horror. It's not like a slasher film or anything, but it's loads and loads of tension. Really brilliant storyline, quite funny in parts, really unique story. So if you're looking for something a bit different this Halloween, The Menu is amazing, and it's one of those, it's not going to be like super scary hiding behind the sofa, but it's more creepy and unnerving. Yes, Sharon, I'm glad that we're all in agreement. It is a Christmas movie. Nightmare Before Christmas, it's in the title, it's a Christmas movie. So I love that we can put that to bed. It's like it's not really a Halloween film at all. Yes, they live in Halloween Town. That's where it ends. They do have some horror films on Disney Plus. Now, I would say none of them are like, well, I don't know if I'm the best person to rate horror films because as much as haunted houses scare me, horror films, I'm that person, I have no reaction. I love watching them. I don't have any reaction. I don't jump. I don't scream. I don't hide. I don't do anything. I'm completely unaffected. So in my mind, I'm like, oh, none of these films are that scary. But maybe that's just because I don't get scared of them. So I do apologise if I tell you this isn't scary and then you're like, that was terrifying. But they have the whole Alien series. So if you do like aliens and stuff like that, Iconic, Sigourney Weaver, all of them you can see. They also have the Predator films, so you can go see all of them. The Sixth Sense, absolute classic. They have the Omen films, which are super, super good. Some real good classics, and including the newest one, which is very great. So you're totally up to date. 28 Weeks Later. They don't have days later. I don't know whether they've just gone straight in with the weeks. But I do actually like 28 Weeks Later as well. I thought it was quite a good follow-up. And I don't know if it's next year, but coming up, we are going to have another 28. I don't know if it's going to be like 28 months later, 28 years later, but something's happening. But I'm very excited for the follow-up. You've got Dark Water, which is super, super creepy. That's a good film. If you're looking for something a bit theatrical, you've got From Hell with Johnny Depp, which is all about Jack the Ripper. Love it. Love that film. That's, well, I don't know if it's scary. It's gory in places, I would say, but very, very, very good film. Ready or Not is super fun. It's kind of about this woman who is dating someone. I don't know if they've got married or she's dating someone. She goes to his family home and then finds out they have a terrible tradition that she gets caught up in. So that's quite a good film. Shutter. I really like this film. It's actually based, I think the original film was like a Thai film. So I actually saw the original version and was obsessed with it. I think the original version is still better, but that's a really, really good film. And The Hills Have Eyes, another classic horror film. So they do actually have like some, what I would consider proper horror films. I don't think they're like the scariest films you will ever find, but they aren't like skipping out on the horror. They are still having some. Yes, Berlin, going to be watching some of these on the TGV train tomorrow. That'll be amazing. Sharon says her favourite horror film for jump scares is Sinister. Yes, do love Sinister. Such a good film. One of my favourite films, actually, because it was one of the only films that did make me like jump multiple times, is The Conjuring. I am obsessed with The Conjuring. The original. It's the one time I was in the cinema. I actually remember that I was sat next to a man who was very, very jumpy, and it was funny because actually him jumping was freaking me out because I'd not react to something, and then he'd like leap out of his seat, and then I'd go, oh, what's he doing? But I love that film. But they also, Disney Plus have a lot of TV. In fact, I would actually say some of the TV shows they have are scarier than the films they have on offer. So of course, like my favourite, Walking Dead. You can watch every single season of The Walking Dead on Disney Plus. You would not think this is a very Disney Plus show, but it's so good. Like the first 6 seasons, great. The first episode of Series 7, probably one of the most shocking and goriest things I've ever seen in television, ever. There were, like, seasons 8 and 9 are pretty rough. You have to kind of just get through them. Then it kind of picks up again. I'm not expecting you to watch all 11 seasons on Halloween. That would be a lot, but I do like The Walking Dead. The Strain, I've also been watching. I keep thinking I'm not a supernatural type of person, but then I have been watching more and more things that are supernatural, and I'm kind of getting into it. But The Strain's quite good. It's kind of a vampire show. So it's kind of good. If you love kind of like sci-fi, that's a very, very good show. Iconic, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. You can go watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I know Ashley, big fan, has her own podcast about Buffy. Like, you can't go wrong. And it's one of those things, like, I think it's so nice, like, having grown up watching it, when you can go back and then you really get back into it again. Because not only is it just a brilliant show, but you've also got that nostalgia. So, absolutely love it. Oh, I love that Donna's literally just mentioned that as well. Buffy is on it. And yes, you watch it every single Halloween. It's just such a good programme. It's so good. I think Disney Plus also has Angel. Like, you can watch everything. So it's so good. But just an iconic show. Interestingly, they have American Horror Stories and American Horror Story. So American Horror Story is the Ryan Murphy series, where kind of each series has its own theme. They all have Sarah Paulson in. I feel like some seasons are better than others. To me, it was always like a hit or miss. There'd be like a hit, and then the next series would be a miss for me. Then a hit again, then a miss. So I think I kind of dropped off in the end, so I probably will go back. American Horror Stories is an anthology series, so every single episode is a different story. I personally love anthologies. Like, I love stuff like Inside Number 9, and Psychoville, all the stuff by like Reece Shearsmith and Steve Pemberton. So I love anthology. So I might actually check that out because I haven't watched that. They also have X-Files, which I loved as a child. That's so much fun. Something I cannot recommend highly enough, What We Do in the Shadows. If you are looking for spooky but just absolutely fun, What We Do in the Shadows is incredible. It's a comedy series about these vampires that live in a house together in Staten Island. And it's brilliant. The cast is absolutely incredible. It's so funny, and it kind of has all of those vampire tropes. Some of the horror, but it's not like kind of scary. It's just funny. Obsessed. They have both the TV series and the film on Disney Plus, and that's one of my absolute favourites. Hi Anna, how are you doing? Yes, I'm starting to feel better. The problem is, some days I think, okay, I'm starting to get better, and then the next day I'll go back to feeling terrible. So like yesterday, I woke up sore throat and headache, which tends to be normal, and then throughout the day that gets a bit better. And then by the afternoon, I was feeling sick, and I was like, oh God, why is this happening? And then today, I've just had the headache. So I'm like, okay, today's a good day. So hopefully, whatever this is, it's on its way out. But you never know at the moment, which is very annoying. It's been here forever, and I'm like, what is this? It needs to go away. It's no good. Um, Also, if you're looking for something that's kind of spooky but funny, Scream Queens was also a really good series. So I love that they have all of these on Disney Plus. Some things that I also wanted to mention, obviously, now I haven't watched this because I'm not far enough along into Marvel. But Agatha All Along, when I saw the trailer for it, looked right up my street. And I'm like, do I need to watch certain other Marvel things first to get it? Or could I just dive into that? Because something like Moon Knight I watched because I was like, I don't think I need to have seen the other Marvel stuff to get what was going on. And that was a very weird show anyway. But Agatha All Along, I'm like, does this follow along from something? But you know, witches, all about the witches. So absolutely love that. I'm convinced that in a past life I was probably a witch because I'm just like, if I lived in the 1500s, I 100% would be a witch because they're like, she's got two familiars, live with my two cats. She's a spinster woman just living in this house with these cats. What's she up to? I 100% would have been considered a witch, regardless if I had talents or not. So I love anything to do with witches. So I need to know: can I watch Agatha All Along? Hi, Alison. Lovely for you to join us. Yes, you'll be watching The Haunted Mansion and Newish Tradition. Loved it. I really liked the film. I think I'll actually go back and rewatch it as well because I thought it was so fun and so well done. And I do love when Disney have the rides first and then the film afterwards. So like loads of people obviously only went to the parks after Pirates of the Caribbean, so they didn't realise that Pirates was there first. So I love that, you know, Haunted Mansion is the same. Apparently we're supposed to be getting this Tower of Terror film. I don't know if it's been like properly canned because it was like they were gonna have the film and then I think there was some sort of like problem with Scarlett Johansson. So then they were like, we're going to fire her from the film or cancel the film. And then I think that got resolved and they were like, oh, it might be back on. And I'm like, I don't know what's happening anymore. But I think it would be amazing to have a Tower of Terror film. But maybe if they should just sort it out. Sharon, you love the Witches of East End. I haven't seen this. I need to see that. I've heard of the film, but I've just never ever seen it. So I love that you've recommended it because that I need to be getting on it. Berlin, you're watching Agatha. You can follow along with it without watching Marvel before. Well, that's good to know because I was like, oh, is it going to be one of those? It will make no sense. So that's really, really good to know because it looks so good. So I'm like, maybe I can just dive straight into that. And I was actually talking to Chris about this because Chris knows lots about Marvel, has seen Marvel, and he was saying because there's such a big catalogue. Like I'm sitting here being like, right, I've got to get through absolutely everything, and it has to be in the precise order. But he's like with all films, some you're going to enjoy more than others. If you start watching a film or a TV series and you don't really like it, don't feel you have to force yourself to sit through it. Just skip on to something else. And I was like, that's such a good point because I feel like I put a lot of pressure on myself and then it puts me off because I'm like, it feels so overwhelming because there's so many films and TV series. And he's like, no, just watch what you like. And I was like, that's a very good point. I'm in control of my life. It's so true. Yes, Alison, a Tower of Terror film would be epic. So I'm like, I hope that they do end up doing it, even if they have to like maybe change the cast or whatever it is, because how cool would that be? I think it'd be so fun. Anna, that's amazing. You watched Hocus Pocus for the first time yesterday. What did you think? I am obsessed with Hocus Pocus. It's one of my all-time favourite films. I remember seeing it in the cinema as a kid and then just absolutely love it. One of my favourite things actually is when you go to something like Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party is how many people go as the Sanderson sisters. And when I say they go as the Sanderson sisters, I don't mean like, oh, they look bounding, you can kind of get it. I mean, they have gone to a Broadway costumier and then they've come as them. It's literally incredible. It's so good. But I am obsessed. I love them. Or I'm always thinking, if I was a Sanderson sister, who would I be? Now, naturally, I want to be Winnie. I feel like most people want to be Winnie. Although, I know quite a lot of people that want to be Sarah. Ironically, I don't want to be Sarah. I have no interest in being Sarah. I want to be Winnie, but I feel like... Am I a Winnie? I'd like to be a Winnie. Maybe I'll manifest myself to be a Winnie. I just think she's so fun. But, something I should mention, which is quite interesting, Goosebumps. There's a Goosebumps TV series on Disney Plus, and I thought it was going to be like the Goosebumps TV series I watched as a kid. So I started watching it. This one came out a few years ago, and in January there's going to be a brand new series that has David Schwimmer in. What's interesting, not an anthology. So the old TV series, every episode used to be its own contained story. This one actually has a narrative throughout the whole series, much scarier than the original Goosebumps. So it's not like the scariest thing you're ever going to see. But if you're thinking it's going to be like the old Goosebumps from like the 90s, it's definitely not. It's definitely more frightening. But I think it's kind of aimed at people who loved Goosebumps in the 90s but are now adults. And I've been loving it. I've been really enjoying that Goosebumps. So if you're looking for like a childhood program that you can have a little bit of nostalgia, but it's also new, that's really, really good. And something else I wanted to mention as well, Behind the Attraction. I'm obsessed with that series, but they do a Haunted Mansion and a Tower of Terror episode. So if you want to kind of learn more about those attractions, the history of them, how they operate, it's so good. I think Behind the Attraction is one of the best shows on Disney Plus. But if you're looking for something kind of Halloween themed, then they're perfect because they're super, super awesome. But also they do have some little Disney classics, which again they're not going to be scary, but they're more spooky because they're just fun. Twitches. If you love Tia and Tamera, Twitches. Absolutely amazing. Halloween Town. Iconic. Of course, you've got programs like The Descendants, where it's all of the kids of the Disney villains. Something I would like to mention, Vampirina. I love Vampirina. I didn't know anything about Vampirina until I went to Disney Junior Dream Factory, the show in Disneyland Paris. And the first time I ever saw that show was just because I'd gone in, I think it was either in November or January. It was -5 outside, it was raining, and I was like, let's just go in and see a show. This is the first show that is open that day. Let's just go and see it. I became fully obsessed with Disney Junior Dream Factory. I'm hoping it'll come back. They've replaced it at the moment with a mini meet and greet, I think. But I hope it will come back. And that was my first introduction to Vampirina. She is a vampire who's a rock star who is incredible. She moved from Transylvania to Pennsylvania, and it's all about her little life, and it's brilliant. So if you're wanting to watch that on Disney Plus, you absolutely can, which I love. Yes, Berlin, I love that you love the Goosebumps series. It's so, so fun. And Sharon's saying there's an old Tower of Terror movie from 1997. I need to go and look this up. Maybe I don't know if they've got it on Disney Plus. If they don't, they should do. Because what are they doing? They're missing a trick. But I wonder if they also, I don't feel like they have the Twilight Zone, which they absolutely should. I don't know if they actually own the rights to it or if it's just they're able to use it for the ride, but they should totally put that on Disney Plus because that would be incredible. Speaking of Twilight though, they do actually have actual Twilight, so they're like the vampires, if you like that. But I do love that there is a mixture. Again, it's like you can have the like fun, spooky, cool things, but then they do have some horror. And like I say, it's weird that the TV shows are much more scary than the horror films that they have available. But they have like a really good mix. So I feel like for everyone there's something, because you're not having to be like, oh, like that's gonna be like too childish or that's gonna be too scary. There is something for everyone. And I do love that they also have Disney. So they do have like Disney specials, like whenever they've done animations with like Mickey and done Halloween specials, they have that as well. So I do think they have a good mixture on there. Yes, Alison, absolutely love Behind the Attraction. Yeah, it's so good. It's so interesting to see kind of like how the rides came about, how they've built them, the storylines that go into them, all of the work that goes into them, and also the mechanics. Like the one about Tower of Terror is so interesting to hear about how we all think of it as a drop ride, but actually technically it's a pull ride, because the only way to make you come out of your seats is if they were to pull you. And that's technically what's actually happening. You're not free falling, which is good to know. It's not completely out of control. It's actually very controlled, which is very, very nice. Oh, Anna says Hocus Pocus was okay. You feel like you need to see the sequel first before I make up my mind. Oh, wait a minute. Did you see Hocus Pocus 2 first? Or do you want to see Hocus Pocus 2? Because Hocus Pocus 2 is not good. I'm not going to lie. I wasn't a big fan. I thought it was a big letdown. The first one, though, absolutely iconic. obsessed with it. Like, so good. I do love how kooky the sisters are. Yeah, I totally agree. Like, they all have such distinct personalities. I will never get over Binks. Every single time, it makes me cry, even though I know he's coming back. I know he's coming back. He's a magical cat. I hate it. I hate seeing him get run over. It's no good. Yes, you'd love to see the Twilight Zone. Every time you go on the ride and see the pre-show, I know, actually, that's such a good point. They could just put the pre-show on Disney Plus, and that would be so cool. Because something they do have, which is kind of interesting, is if you're wanting just some like spooky music in the background on Disney Plus, you can have just the soundtrack from the Haunted Mansion. You could just play it. So it just has like a screen that looks kind of like a Haunted Mansion setting, but then it just has the spooky music, and I'm like, that's so cool. I was gonna say if you wanted to relax, I'm one of these weird people that watches horror films to relax, that probably says a lot about me. But I love that. Like, if you're doing some work or something, but you just want some background noise, you can listen to Haunted Mansion, which I think is brilliant. Yes, so you watched the first Hocus Pocus, worried about the second one. Yeah, the second one, like, I had high hopes. I'm so glad all of the cast came back. But I just think the first one was so iconic and so loved that the second one, the script just fell a bit flat. And I was just like, Yes, Berlin, you watch True Crime to relax. Same. Love it. Love true crime. Like, it's so wild, isn't it? It's just like, and I think, do you know what it is sometimes? So, like, I had quite a stressful couple of weeks, and I was like, I'm going to go see Terrifier 3 to relax. And I was like, that says a lot, but I think it's probably because the people in Terrifier 3, what's happening to them is more stressful. So I'm like, oh, at least I'm not as stressed as them. I don't know if that's the psychology behind it. People are like, I'm doing fine. I'm fine. That's not happening to me. Which is amazing. But true crime, I think, is so interesting, isn't it? Because, especially when it's real, and to know, like, these things happen, and, like, why do people do those sorts of things? Also, so you can look out for signs to be like, stay away from that person, because I've seen this happen in a true crime, and I know how it plays out, so I'm not going near them. But yeah, I think they're so interesting. Hi, Christopher, lovely to see you. Thank you for joining us. But yeah, I love spooky season. I think it's such a great time of the year to visit Disney. I do love that most of the parks, like Disneyland Paris, they don't start till October, but it's basically the whole of October. You do have Halloween. A lot of the other parks will actually start in September, or US parks even in August. So I do love that there's a wide range of time to visit. You don't have to go like Halloween night specifically. You will be able to experience Halloween for a long period of time. And it also gives you more flexibility because, you know, you're not having to think, I've got to be there for that one night. You can go, okay, what dates work out best for us running up to it? And it's just so much fun. I think Disney do it so well. And they make it accessible. So they make Halloween really fun. So if you aren't a fan of being scared, don't worry about it. You're not going to be. But I also love it's the one time you get to see the villains properly. Because I cannot wait for Magic Kingdom to have a Villains Land, because I love the villains, and it is such a shame that typically the only time you do see them is Halloween, but I love that at Halloween they really go all out, so you really will see them. And like when I was at the Halloween party at Disneyland Paris, like they even had characters like the old hag from Snow White, so I love the evil queen, but I actually love her as the old hag more. I never in my life thought I'd ever see her in a park. And to get to interact with her was incredible. And like I say, Oogie Boogie Bash, they have tons and tons and tons of villains that are rare, like Madam Mim. Or even, I can't remember his name, but you know Who Framed Roger Rabbit? The villain from that. He's there. And I'm like, this is incredible. They really go all out. So I feel like that's one of the reasons I'm really drawn to Oogie Boogie Bash, because I love the Disney villains. So to get to see these ones that you never ever see is amazing. Although I wonder do you think in the long run Disney will expand to also include stuff like Star Wars villains or like Marvel villains? Because I think that would be kind of cool as well if you incorporated them, because that would be pretty interesting. But because there's kind of that thing at the moment, isn't it? We're kind of blending all of these things together. So like in the parks you're getting more Marvel, more Star Wars, but I wonder if they'll start introducing them into the Halloween events, because I think that would be so cool. Yes, Alison, you're so right. There is a Twilight Zone TV series, and I wish they'd put it on Disney Plus. I feel like they need to like have a deal with whoever owns it. But that's really, really cool, isn't it? To kind of see the iconic classic, and it's so good. Which villains meet and greets need to be in the villains land? So I think this is such a good question because I think they're going to go for the big hitters. So you're going to have like Maleficent. I think we've even seen her castle actually in the artwork. Like Evil Queen. I obviously want Dr. Facilier to be there because I'm obsessed with him and he seems to be getting bigger and bigger. So a lot of the parks seem to be introducing Dr. Facilier now. So I've got my fingers crossed for him. But I would love it if they did. Maybe they had a few like of the iconic ones and maybe they switched out ones that you don't see that often because I would love to meet Madame Mim just because I feel like I really relate to her with her crazy hair, love of pink, living on her own. I'm like, I am Madame Mim. I can't wait to meet her. I feel like being in the mirror. I love it. But I would really like actually if they were more like roaming characters, which I feel like Disney World have started to introduce with Galaxy's Edge. They've brought the roaming characters there. So I'm like, if in Villains Land they could be roaming, that would be literally incredible because I think they'll be so much more fun. And I'm also interested to see what rides they're going to have because from the artwork we can see there's definitely going to be a coaster, which looks amazing. And it looks like it also goes underwater and it's all amongst these like thorny vines. It looks really cool. I know there's going to be a second ride, but we don't know anything about the second ride. But what do you think? Which characters do you think should be represented? Would you like, this is what I would like, a character dining meal that's villains? I think that would be like sold out like at the 60-day mark immediately. I think everyone would be obsessed with that. It would be so good. And what's interesting is because this is going to be in Magic Kingdom, like, do you think when it's finally built on Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party Nights, do you think they'll do extra things? Do you think maybe that will be where all the villains lurk? Do you think maybe they'll get scare actors? Like, do you think they'll really go all out? Or do you think it will kind of stay the same and it's just that that land will be there? Because it will be so good. Yes, you also love the idea of having Madame Mim. Yeah, Yzma would be so good because she's so underrated and underrepresented. That would be so, so good. Hi, Peter! Oh my god, I love it! You're here. We are both live. I love that. It's so good. And yeah, Peter's heading back to Disneyland Paris soon. Berlin's going like almost immediately. Chris is going to be going soon, so I love that everyone's got a Disneyland Paris trip coming up. Peter, I've been talking about our experience at the annual pass holders annual pass party for Halloween last year. So good, so many amazing characters just out roaming. The pirates that were in Pirates of the Caribbean, hysterical. It was so good. And the bride. Peter got in a lot of trouble with the bride, but it was so fun, so interactive, and having roaming characters is so much better than meet and greets. Like, I will die on this hill. And that's another reason why I think Disneyland, the experience there is incredible. Because it's super fun doing the meet and greets, but you literally stand in a queue for like 30 minutes, just waiting. Then you have a little interaction and you leave. Whereas when they are walking around and interacting, the whole land feels so alive because of it. Which is why I would love that in the Villains Land in Magic Kingdom. If they could just be out and about roaming, it would be incredible. Yeah, Donna said you could never get away with roaming characters in Paris because people would crowd them, and that's why we can't have nice things. And yeah, they used to have roaming characters a long time ago in Disneyland Paris, and they've kind of stopped it now. But the problem is, Disneyland Paris, I never ever meet characters there because the queues are so long. Out of all of the Disney parks I've been to, the character meets are at least double the length in Disneyland Paris, if not more. And apart from a character dining meal, I would never ever meet characters in Disneyland Paris because of it. Apart from when we went to the Halloween party and they were roaming, and it was literally incredible. It was so much better. Yes, the old hag, Peter also got in trouble with her, but those interactions were so memorable, so, so good. Peter's just been watching Princess and the Frog and cried again. Yeah, I love it. Princess and the Frog, I think, is so underrated. I love that we're starting to see it more in the parks. But it's such a good film. Like, all of the songs are brilliant. The storyline's amazing. Like, it's just such a good film. And I'm like, we need more of Princess and the Frog. And as we all know, I'm obsessed with Dr. Facilier. I think he's one of the best Disney villains. I think he's so slick. He's so cool. The problem is, I love Ray as well. And people are like, how can you like him after what he did to Ray? And I'm like, I know you shouldn't really like Dr. Facilier, but he's so cool. He's just so good. But I can't wait for this Villains Land. I think that's going to be really like next level cool. And I would have loved them to do a whole villains theme park because I think they've got the scope, because you've got so many Disney villains. You absolutely could have done that. But I will take a land. I will absolutely take a land. I think it's going to be so good. Yes, this is my Hocus Pocus Spirit jersey. So it's got Winifred on the front, the other two on the back. It's got what does it say on the back? Something like Tonight We Ride or something on the back. Very, very fun. Absolutely love it. And I don't actually have any Halloween costumes specific. I'm one of these people. If someone said you've got to go to a Halloween party tomorrow, I'd be like, I'm just turning up with myself then, because I literally don't have any costumes. I think you're either someone that has done a lot of like costumes, or you're someone that's never done costumes. And like I said, I grew up where I would just be put in a plastic bin bag and told I was a witch. That's the level of costumes I had growing up. So I'd never been a costume type person. And when I went to Mickey's Not So Scary, that was the thing I found the hardest. Because like I said, I didn't want something that would be very, like a lot of clothing, a lot of layers in the Florida heat, or a lot of heavy makeup that would slide off in the heat. So I was like, oh, it's really hard to then work out what to do. So I went as a original Mouseketeer, which is not scary at all. But it was a super cute costume. I absolutely loved it. I feel like you could also just wear that in the park on a normal day. But I was toying with like who to go as, because it's also difficult to know who are you kind of similar to. And the other options were Ursula, but I was like, that would be a lot of makeup that's going to slide immediately off. Something that I really wanted to do, although he's not spooky, I really wanted to go as Heimlich, the caterpillar from A Bug's Life. I love Heimlich. I think he's hysterical. Would have loved that. I did see a lady once at Mickey's Not So Scary, and it was incredible. So she'd gone as Ursula, and she looked stunning. Absolutely incredible. But the thing that was really funny about her is she'd gone with a friend. However, her friend was not allowed to have their own personality. He was like in all black, and then on his hands he had like sock puppets that were the eels. And he had to stand behind her and then just be the eels. And I was like, I love that you've made your friend be a prop. He wasn't allowed to be his own person. And I was like, I love that level of extra. But it was very effective and it looked great. It was so good. But yeah, I've run out of things. I've run out of all of the things. So I do think it is amazing that all of the Disney parks have Halloween events. And that actually 4 of them, they're included in the price, which I think is fantastic. The fact that you get to have all of these like special parades and stuff at no extra cost, amazing. But I do think the ones that are extra cost are really, really worth it. And like I said, I love Mickey's Not So Scary, and I'm sure if I go back at Halloween season again in the future, I will go to it next time. However, Halloween Horror Nights I will be going to all the time, and I have seen that obviously they haven't started building Universal here yet, but there have been permits filed for them to hold Halloween Horror Nights. So when it does open, and that could be in 10 years' time, but when it does open, they're going to have Halloween Horror Nights here. And I am going to get the frequent fear pass, the one where you can just go all the time. I'm just going to go to Bedford all the time because I'm obsessed with Halloween Horror Nights. Absolutely obsessed. Hi Zoe, thank you for joining us. First time going to Disney at Halloween in 4 days' time. That's so exciting. You're going to have an absolute blast. It's one of the best times of year, I think, to visit. I think Halloween and Christmas, if you're wanting great themed trips, are the 2 best out of all the year. Like, they add so much to the park and it's just so much fun. So I cannot wait to see what you think and what trip you're going to have. It's going to be amazing. And Sharon, you've just got back from Disneyland Paris and you met the Mandalorian. Incredible. Absolutely. Look, what a fantastic meet and greet. How long did you have to wait to meet the Mandalorian? Because I'm very interested about this in Disneyland Paris. Because I know The character meet and greets are long. The Mandalorian is super popular. I met him in Disney World recently, which I was so excited about because I was desperate to do it. And what's interesting is in Galaxy's Edge in Disney World, the characters are all roaming. So you just bump into them. However, the Mandalorian, because he is so popular, just gets swamped. So he ends up kind of being in one spot. But what was cool about it was instead of there being like a long queue, people were all just stood around him, and then he'd like point at you and then be like, come here. And then you know, you felt really special because you'd been chosen. You'd been the person chosen to interact with him and Grogu, which was great, which is so fun. But yes, Peter, you'd completely forgotten about the Universal thing. I think it's going to be absolutely incredible. Like, it's going to be immediately. I mean, it hasn't even been built, but I know it will be the best theme park in the UK by far. Like, not even a competition. I actually think it could immediately become the best theme park in Europe. But what's also great is that all of the theme parks at the moment are going to have to start stepping their game up because, you know, they've got quite a long period of time before this opens. So they will know if we want to compete, we're going to have to up our game because, you know, that theme park, it's going to be built with the latest technology. Like, it's going to be far exceeding anything we've got in Europe at the moment. So everyone's really gonna have to step it up. So it's gonna be a great time to be a theme park fan. I think it's gonna be so good. But Anna, you said when you were 12 you went to a Halloween birthday party as a dead body who was in the morgue. That is iconic. I love that. You wore a full white bodysuit and painted your face greyish pale. That is incredible. That is amazing. I love that you were 12. Did everyone freak out? Because I think that's next level. Like, how creative. Like, people must have been blown away. I absolutely love that. Hi Yuki, lovely to see you. You're French and you watch the vegan food reviews. Thank you so much for watching. And yeah, I'm so impressed at Disneyland Paris. Basically now, all of the like Disney owned restaurants, there are vegan options, which makes it so much easier to visit because there's a lot of variety, and particularly if you're visiting with people who aren't vegan, you're not kind of restricted to like there's only 2 or 3 places to eat. You can kind of choose wherever you all fancy eating. So I think that it's so good, and it's nice to see they're kind of always trying to add more. So I absolutely love it. I'm like, I can't wait to get back. There's been a few new options actually since my last visit, so I'm super keen to get to experience them and taste them and see what they're like. And that's always nice, isn't it? When there's something new, you're like, oh my god, there's something new to try. You don't have to keep eating the same stuff, which is so fun. That's the one thing I would say though, about Halloween as a vegan. None of the parks tend to do Halloween specific vegan snacks, and I feel like, come on, just do one and we'll be happy. But they're like, no, you're not allowed the Halloween snacks, not you. Oh, that's so good, Sharon. You only waited about 30 minutes. And the Mandalorian said, do you want to meet Grogu? And you said, you did, he growled at you. That's so funny. Because this is the thing, and I did feel kind of bad for the Mandalorian, because everyone just wants to talk at Grogu. And he's just like, I think he's just given up the ghost. He's like, yeah, just talk to him. It is funny, because it's one of those meet and greets, kind of the same as if you meet Darth Vader or something, where they obviously speak to you, but it's like they obviously have a certain amount of phrases that they can just, I don't know if they press a button, I don't know how they do it, but it just says things at you, so it's not like you can interact and talk. So it's quite interesting how that works. Yes, Peter, I've got my little bellhop hat on, all ready to go to the Tower of Terror. Actually, that's something I would love Disney to do. I would love them to do a Hollywood hotel, an actual Tower of Terror Hollywood hotel themed hotel, spooky hotel. Like, I would love that. I think that would be so much fun. And I don't know why they haven't done that. I mean, they obviously couldn't make the hotel super spooky because, like, you know, you could terrify people. But I think it'd be the most fun. And like, if the rooms like had like cool decor, but like nothing scary happens to you in your room, obviously. But then, like, you know, the staff could be like bellhops, could be like as they are in the ride. I think that would be next level amazing. I love this. Anna was saying when she was a corpse, at Halloween, which I think is the best thing ever. Everyone was a bit confused, but after explaining they got it, and your mum painted a bloody knife in your back. That is incredible. That is like next level amazing, and I love that as a family you went all in. Because like I say, I had a bin bag and I was a witch, which no one would have looked at me and gone, "She's a witch." They would have gone, "Is she trash? What's happening?" But that is incredible. Alison, you'd love a Tower of Terror hotel. Sharon would as well. I think that would be so much fun. And like, I mean, I suppose they wouldn't, but you could even do like, they could do like not like a character dining event, but they could do like a murder mystery dinner event, which would be so much fun. But you could have like, maybe it's like a Disney villain themed one or something. I mean, I suppose maybe Disney would be like, we don't want to do murder mystery because we don't want to imply people have been murdered on site at Disney. But I think it'd be so much fun. I think they should fully get into it. And that's the thing. I do think like yeah, haunted mansion hotel. Yeah, can you imagine how fun that would be? Like you'd have the iconic wallpaper. Like that would be so good. And I feel like Disney need to lean into the fact that people really love this stuff. And I think they have listened because obviously Villains Land is something people have been asking for so long. But I'm like, if we could just do more and more and more, that would be amazing. So I think the hotel will be a natural choice because it has to be. Yeah, Sharon, this is the thing that I always think is interesting. Whenever you talk to people who like Disney, within like a 15-minute chat, we've already fixed all of the problems that are currently happening at Disney and thought up about 15 different brilliant ideas. And I think it's really wild that the people that work at Disney don't do any of this. And you're like, what's happening, guys? And I think it's because they've moved from creative people to business people. But Disney's a creative company. You need creative people at the head. So I'm like, we can't be having all these business people ruining everything. Oh my god, Anaya, have you had a haunted mansion hotel and the restaurant had the ghosts dancing around you? Could you imagine how cool that would be? Yeah, they would have to have that scene as the ballroom would have to be the dining room, wouldn't it? Like, that would be iconic. There's so many cool things you could do. Something that I did see you can do, if you are getting married, I think everyone thinks if you're going to get married in Disney, of course you want the castle as the background. However, one of the options is you get married outside the Tower of Terror, and then the whole like decor is themed around that era, kind of like Art Deco, old Hollywood glamour. And I'm like, I'd like that even more. I think that's like amazing. I mean, you would have to have silly money, but how cool. That's another fun thing you can do, like have a little horror themed wedding. Why not? Why not? There's loads of people I know that have like a haunted mansion themed wedding, so that's really, really cool. But there's so many things they could be doing, Disney. They need to be doing these, because this is the thing, isn't it? Like I say, we all chat and immediately we have amazing ideas. And I'm like, all of these things people would love. And I think because we're Disney fans, it's like if we would love that, then chances are a lot of people that love Disney would love that. So why not do things? I don't think there's anything wrong with fan service. Like sometimes that's what you need to be listening to. Because if people are literally telling you this is what we want, give the people what they want. I think it's amazing. And I think it would be great if they did have more spookier films. So like, you know, we were talking about you've had Haunted Mansion come out, and that was actually quite a big success for them. And I'm like, maybe we should do more of these. Like, they don't have to be scary. They can just have that really fun theming. So I'm like, let's start doing that. So yes, I haven't been back to Pim Kitchen. I think it put me off so much. And I actually think another reason, not just because it was a bad experience, but the buffets at Disneyland Paris, because they have so few vegan options, they are nowhere near worth it for the cost. So like Pim Kitchen, I think is €45, and there's like 5 or 6 options if you're lucky. There's only like 2 that are labelled on the actual buffet itself, and it's the same for all the buffets. There's maybe a handful of options, but they'll charge you 45, 50, €80, €100 if you go to Royal Banquet, and it's just like, I think for that price it's just not worthwhile. Obviously some of them you're paying for the experience, like if you're meeting characters and stuff, but the fact that other people will have loads of options, so at least the cost feels a bit more not acceptable because it's still really expensive, but you feel like I can get my money's worth. Whereas the vegans, I'm just like, I don't think the buffets are any good, which is such a shame. Anna, maybe we should all collectively apply for the new CEO position. That's the thing, isn't it? I think that's what needs to happen, because all the people that they're kind of lining up to take over are all business people. And I'm like, have you not learned anything? Have you not learned anything? This doesn't work. You've had Bob Iger, then you had Bob Chapek, and everyone was like, he's the worst CEO ever. And then Bob Iger went, hold my beer. I'm going to come back in and I'm going to make things significantly worse and do things exactly like Bob Chapek wanted to do. So I'm like, what is going on? And it's interesting because a lot of people like Josh D'Amaro. And I think that's because he's like a likeable person. And like if you meet him in the parks, he's really, really nice. But I'm like, are we all aware of how much the parks have declined in the sense of like how much they cost now? And then how many things have been like taken away? He's in charge of all of that, guys. So I'm like, I don't know if he would be a good replacement, because I feel like he's like the front runner, the ones that like the fans would like. But I'm like, if you don't like, I hear everyone complaining about everything that's happening in the Disney parks, and rightly so. And I'm like, he's in charge of that, guys. It's him. He's making those decisions. So it's no fun. Another great question about Disneyland Paris. What vegan food is the best? And have I tried the new Colonel Hattie option? So I haven't been back since they've introduced the new curry at Colonel Hattie, but I love that you also have samosas and onion bhajis. Like, there's a lot of vegan options, and I've heard it's supposed to be really, really good. It's on top of my list for my next visit. So if you go, do let me know what you think of Colonel Hattie. I think some of my favourite meals are Toad Hall. The fish and chips is amazing. I really like the Chaka Laka in restaurant Hakuna Matata. The burrito in Casa de Coco is really, really good. I love the Manhattan menu at the Art of Marvel Hotel. That's probably one of the best meals for vegans in Disneyland Paris. It's so, so good. And also the shawarma from Super Diner. Amazing. So I really like now that there's a wide variety of options and some really good options as well. The only thing I'd be aware of is that anything that is a burger or a hot dog, they will mark as plant-based, not vegan, because they're cooked on shared grills. So the ingredients are vegan, but then there's cross-contamination. So just be aware of that. But anything that has the actual vegan label will always be vegan, which is good. Yeah, Sharon, you didn't enjoy Pim Kitchen, and yeah, I think it's hit or miss, isn't it? Whether you enjoy it, and also, does it have enough types of food you enjoy to justify the cost? So it's hard, isn't it? Yes, Yuki, Manhattan restaurant is the best so far. So you've booked it. Yeah, I am obsessed with Manhattan. Like, and everyone I know that's been there also agrees. Like, the pasta dish is incredible. It's so, so good. And just the Art of Marvel Hotel, getting to visit there is great. Like, it's so cool. They also have like great bars. They have a shop. You can have a wander around, see all the amazing artwork. And yeah, the decor, it's like also really lovely restaurant inside. So it's great for like a special event, or maybe if you're just looking for something like your last night, a nice meal. It's really, really, really good. So yes, and I have seen the recent price increases for Disney World, and this is something that's really difficult because Disneyland Paris have also recently just had loads of menus increase, and some of them, like the menus have gone up by €10. So like some of the meals have gone from like 45 to €55, and what happens is it literally happens overnight. So I always feel really bad for the people that are currently there and you've budgeted for your trip, and overnight the prices go up, and you're like, all of a sudden your trip's now massively more expensive and you had no forewarning. But yeah, Disney World, the ticket prices are going up. Of course, there's the insane new Premier Access. It's not called Premier Access. The Multipass Premier, which is going to be debuting in the next few days, which is the most ridiculous thing I have ever heard of. So I am going to be doing a video soon all about Multipass. So tomorrow, actually, I'm doing a video that is about how to book Multipass step by step. And then like 2 weeks later, I'm going to do a video all about the best strategy for Multipass, which parks it's really good in, the order you should book your rides, everything like that. And I'm going to touch upon the Multipass Premiere, which is the worst thing I think Disney have ever suggested. I mean, it's to the point where it's actually grotesque. It's so offensive what they're offering, because the only difference is you don't book a time slot. You're still in the Lightning Lane queue with everyone else that's bought the $30 Lightning Lane. You just turn up when you want instead of booking a time slot. However, you pay more than 10 times the price for that privilege, which is wild. It's just like an absolute cash grab. And that's the thing. I think the problem Disney have had is, I think they want to try and replicate Universal's Express Pass. But if that was their intention, they should never have ever have introduced Genie Plus or the normal multi-pass, because if you've offered something where you're like, okay, you can go on multiple rides, and it is expensive in the sense of it's adding money onto your trip, it's not unaffordable. So when Genie Plus was $15, okay, obviously multi-pass is more expensive. I think recently we've just seen it hit $32 or $35, which is the highest it's ever been. But that's much cheaper than the Express Pass at Universal. The Express Pass at Universal is hundreds of dollars, which I feel like the new multi-pass Premier is trying to replicate. However, it has none of the benefits. So, like, at least in Universal, you can also go on the rides as many times as you want. You can just walk straight up, it's fine. Whereas this, they're like, oh, you can only go on every ride once, you can't park hop, and you get to stand in the same queue as everyone else, but you've paid 10 times the price. And I feel like if you can afford the multi-pass Premier, because Magic Kingdom is $450 per person for one day, which is insane. So if you're a family of four, that's $2,000. If you have that sort of money, you might as well just get a VIP guide and then have like a proper experience where you get straight to the front of the queue, you get all these added benefits, you get to be taken backstage and private transport, stuff like that. But I actually think it's offensive to offer so. I literally don't know how someone went, what about if we do an option where people don't have to have the time slot? And they go, okay, that sounds like quite a good idea. People will probably pay for that. Charge a bit more, fine. Well, you charge £450. What? Like, you can't go from $32 to $450. It's just wild. And I literally hope no one buys it. I think it's going to be a massive flop, because I think they are trying to fleece people that have money. I think that they think if they offer something, because obviously at the moment only deluxe resort guests can buy it, so I think they're kind of like, those people have money, maybe they don't do a lot of research into Disney, but they're cash rich and time poor, they might just pay out the money so they can try and get the most out of their experience, which we know they're not, because they're standing in the same queue as everyone else that's paid $30. So I think it's really bad. I think it's going to flop massively. But Alison, you loved the vegan shawarma. It's so good. It's so tasty. Like, Super Diner is such a hidden gem. I don't know if it's because it's like right at the end of Avengers Campus, kind of behind the Tower of Terror, that people don't know about it. But whenever I go, it's not super busy, but the food is incredible. Sharon, you're going back for Christmas season and you want to try the vegan fish and chips at Toad Hall. I don't know if there's a vegan option. It might just be the normal fish and chip option. But yeah, Toad Hall is a brilliant option in general. It's one of the best quick service. It's got a very limited menu because it's literally just like fish and chips, vegan fish and chips, and then vegan chicken nuggets and chips. But the food is so good, and the decor is amazing as well. It's such a fun restaurant. But yeah, Julia, probably my massive rant about the new Premier Access Pass. Yeah, I don't think I'm ever going to buy that. Because I actually think it's offensive because you're offering nothing to people. The thing that I'm worried about though is this a soft launch, and are they going to get rid of normal Premier multi-pass and ultimately replace it with this, and the only way to skip the queue is to pay hundreds of dollars more? I think that would be an absolute disaster business move, because at the moment they actually make a lot of money from multi-pass and single pass. However, if they put the price up, no one's going to buy it. No one. So they would lose so much money doing that. So I hope that would, because it would be an absolutely disastrous business move. And not just would it lose the money, but then also people would just become so annoyed at Disney as a company that you then lose people's goodwill. And that's already kind of hanging on by a thread, I think. I think a lot of people are already going, you know, I'm not going back to Disney, it's getting too expensive, they're charging you for everything. So I feel like they can't really push it, but it's so interesting. But yeah, Donna says it's all money now. I liked Michael Eisner. I know he had problems, but him and Frank Wells worked well together. One was the money man, one was the creative man, but now it's all money-minded leaders. And that's 100% what I think. The last great pairing was Michael Eisner and Frank Wells. And then obviously before that you had Walt and Roy. You did have a CEO in between, but again, Disney didn't do so well under him. Then you went back to Eisner and Wells, where you had that kind of great, like Michael Eisner being an ideas man, absolutely incredible, and then Frank Wells being able to balance everything out with finance. That's what you need. And Disney needs to go back to being a creative company. And I think that's the thing, like Disney was creative and the money followed because they do amazing things and people wanted to go and watch it or experience it in the parks. Whereas now it's just like, do as much as you can to make as much money out of people as possible, but it's killing off the brand because people are like, I don't want to go to the parks anymore because it's too expensive. All of the films are a flop. And I'm like, you're a creative company. You have to be run by creative people. So it's so sad. It's interesting, actually, because Michael Eisner now owns my local football club. And my dad, so basically, Portsmouth Football Club was basically going bankrupt. And my dad set up the Supporters Trust. So then the fans bought the club. And it was a fan-owned club for a while. And then Michael Eisner bought the club off the Supporters Trust. So my dad now, whenever Michael Eisner comes over to a match, meets up with him. And I'm like, where's my invite? I want to meet Michael Eisner. So I'm hoping at some point in the future that would happen, because that would be amazing. Even if it was just like a 2-minute, like, you know, thank you for all the things you did. I think that would be so incredible. But I'm obsessed with him. But yes, I have been to Annette's Diner in Disney Village. They do have a plant-based burger, which is really, really nice. It has loads of like vegetable toppings. You get like avocado, courgette, aubergine, rocket. There's loads of options. And what I really like is it's a much bigger portion than in the parks. But it's only a couple of euros more. And the quality is much better. However, I would say it's one of these things that they label it as plant-based because it's cooked on a grill that could be shared, so they don't want to label it as vegan just in case there's cross-contamination. But if you're not concerned about that, I think it's a really, really good option. Let's have a look. Anna says you could get tickets for all 4 parks for the Premier Pass prize. What is this prize? Am I missing out on something? What is this prize? Because, oh, for the price. Well, here's the thing. That's the other thing that I don't understand. At the moment, if you use MultiPass, the normal one, you can park hop. So as long as you've scanned into your first ride, you can then hop to another park. You just book a reservation in another park. They've said with this new Premier option, you can't park hop. And I'm assuming that's because they're worried that people will buy for like Animal Kingdom, which is going to be like $180, and then park hop to Magic Kingdom and saving themselves nearly $300. So I'm assuming that's why they're saying there's no park hopping. But again, they're being like, oh, it's not restricted. And I'm like, but it is restricted, because with the normal MultiPass I can park hop, and with this I can't. So it is restricted. It's very weird. Hi Laurie, how are you? Thank you so much for joining us. Oh, it's so good to see you. Laurie's off to Orlando soon. Like, an epic trip is coming up, so cannot wait to follow along on that. Yes, Donna. I should go and meet Michael Eisner. I think that'd be good. Yeah, we should put all the ideas forward. Let's all come up with the ideas, and I'll just bombard him, because he's still a massive shareholder in Disney. So we could just bombard him and be like, "Come on, Michael, you've got to start sorting this out." That'd be so good. Hi Eileen, you're going to Disneyland Paris in September 2025 and you have a priority pass. Will I still be able to use it? So yes, like I don't know how long, if you've had one before, I don't know how long that lasts, because some of the Disney parks, it gives you like 180 days or however many days. Other ones, It's just for that specific trip. So I feel like you'd probably have to apply it again. But if you've had it before, then it should be absolutely fine and you'll be able to get it, which would be so, so handy and just make your trip much more enjoyable. And yeah, it's going to be so much fun to go back next September and spooky season. You're gearing up for it. It's going to be so good. And yeah, September's a great month to visit, I think, because the kids have gone back to school, so it's a bit quieter. Like, such a good time to visit. Yes, and now I realised afterwards it was priced, and I was like, I've just been not reading this right. Yeah, I'm surprised that if you're going to charge hundreds and hundreds of dollars and not allow people to park hop, it's just crazy. Because you're like, what? Ooh, okay, Peter says, small tip, at Agrabah you can get a deal. Okay, we've had this before. I've had this before. This was a different man before, and I'm not gonna say it because I've caught myself out once before. We're not doing it. But yeah, interesting that Disneyland Paris is starting to increase their vegan food. The thing that I think is difficult is they've probably had these dishes now for nearly 3 years, and the menus tended to have stayed the same. So some restaurants, they would have added new dishes, like Toad Hall, for example. They've got like a vegan like chicken nugget now as well, which I'm very excited to try because I haven't been able to try that. But all of the ones that like with the OG options are still there, so it's good that they're there. But if you've been like more than once during that time period, you're like, oh, I'm just going to eat the same food. So it would be nice if every now and then they did a menu refresh. But I'm just glad there's options, because beforehand it was very, very difficult, because it was like fries that are probably shared fries, they probably weren't even vegan. There was like a salad, but it was just like a dry salad that was like pre-packaged. Like, it was not good. So now, the fact that basically everywhere you can kind of eat is incredible. Yes, Sharon, I totally agree. Like, I've got a feeling this is the same person that did it before, because it was the same comment, and they've just made a new account. So yeah, but this time I'm like, I'm gonna read first and then speak. I'm not gonna get caught out again. But yeah, I think it is amazing that Disneyland Paris are starting to catch up, and of course, if you go to the American parks, it's like next level. And in fact, actually, the only reason I haven't been to the Asian parks yet is just because of the food situation. It's much more difficult to find food there. And my friend Derek has been to Hong Kong and Shanghai this year, and he pre-ordered some vegan meals. Typically, they had to be at the hotels. So in the parks, it was harder to find options, but the hotels tend to be able to cater to you if you let them know in advance. And the food he had was really good, actually. But that's what's put me off going, because I'm like, oh, I feel like I'd have to take a lot of food with me. And you know, if you're walking around kind of hungry all day because you've just been eating kind of like cereal bars and surviving off of them for a week, it's not as fun. But hopefully maybe that will improve. But I suppose it depends if there's a market for it or not, and if there isn't, because I think still the Asian parks, like international tourists, are very, very rare still. So if there's no need for it, they probably won't do it, which will be interesting. But yeah, has anyone got any Halloween plans? Because it's this week. It's happening. It's occurring. Is anyone doing anything special? Are you going to watch any specific films? Oh, interesting. Laurie says Explorers Lodge has vegan food, which is so, so good to know. And that's the thing, isn't it? I feel like if I did a lot of research into the Asian parks and you knew, right, I could eat here, here, and here, you might be able to like cobble together enough meals so that you're like, actually, I'll be fine. And if I have to take a few snacks and a few meals just to eat snacks, it'll be good. Because they look so fantastic. Like, and what I really like is that, what I like about all the Disney parks is they have familiar elements, but then also their own unique personalities. But I think the Asian parks have that even more, because they really, really, really do incorporate the culture of the countries as well. And they just look so incredible and so special. So I would love to visit, and yeah, it's going to happen one day, isn't it? It's going to happen. And what's interesting is actually speaking to people like Laurie, knowing that actually it's much cheaper to visit the Asian parks than you imagine. Like, I've had a few friends that have said if you can do 2 weeks at Disney World, you could do all 3 Asian parks in one trip, and it would still be cheaper than 2 weeks in Disney World, which blows my mind because I just assumed because it's so far and you'd be going to different countries, it would be more. So it's fantastic to know actually it's not one of those things that's like unachievable. So I'm like, this is great news. That's very exciting. Laurie just said, I found out today that one of my suppliers has booked out Dracula Castle for next year's Halloween. That's incredible. Please tell me you're going to get to go, because how incredible. And Laurie is a travel agent. So if you are ever looking to go to Disney and you're wanting those really, really good deals, do go check out everything. Like Laurie, in the chat, you can link to like your social media and stuff. And then it's so handy, because for me it's so handy to know someone as well that knows all of the tips and advice, like the best hotels to be going to, and like these are the good deals that are coming up. It's so handy, and especially someone that's got first-hand experience of visiting these places, going on these cruises, being in these hotels. Like it's so handy. So you need to go check him out. And I'm desperate that you get to go to Dracula's Castle for Halloween, because that is the most Halloween thing I've ever heard. There's nowhere more Halloween special than Dracula's Castle, would there be? That's amazing. Sharon's going to watch Woman in Black movie on Halloween night. It's your favourite horror. I am obsessed with the Woman in Black stage show. Have you ever seen it? If you love the film, the stage show you are going to be blown away by. And interesting, like I said, like horror films, I typically don't jump. I just really enjoy them. They don't scare me. The Woman in Black stage show, I jump every single time I see it. It's so well done. But yeah, what a great film as well. Like, so fun. So good. But yeah, Julia said, how many days would you allocate to Tokyo Disney? I would love to go in the future. And yeah, this is something I would love to know as well. Because I feel like, because there's 2 parks and there's so much to see, I would go, I think the tickets a maximum like 4 or 5 days, but I feel like I'd be like, do I need to buy more than that? I mean, if they're saying that you only need 4 or 5 days, maybe that's what you need, but I'm like, are we sure? Because I feel like I could do more days. It'll be so good. But like Tokyo, and especially now that they've just opened Fantasy Springs. For a minute, I wanted to say Fantasyland. I'm like, that's stupid because we've had Fantasyland forever. But Fantasy Springs, it's like there's even more to see now. So I feel like whatever the maximum amount of days are that they sell, would be fantastic. And like, I think the option as well of like staying at the hotels, because the hotels are so amazingly themed, especially like the Toy Story hotel, because if I stay in a Disney hotel, I want it to feel Disney. And that's one of the things that I dislike about Disney World, is when they're having these renovations, they're stripping them down and there's very little Disney theming. And I'm like, if I'm staying on site and I'm paying a premium for it, I want it to feel like a Disney hotel. Whereas in Tokyo, they're like, oh, you are going to feel like you're in Toy Story. And it just looks incredible. So, love all the hotels. Oh, Laurie has said 2 days in each park. So 1 park per alternate day. So that makes sense. So like 4 days and you could just go back and forth like between the 2 parks. That makes sense. And I think that'll be so nice because you get like the full experience. And I feel like, having watched vlogs of people that went, I'd also do like the hotel packages where you can buy, I don't know if they call it Premier Access, but whatever, like they're kind of like multi-pass or Premier Access, where you can get certain rides at certain times. It's definitely worthwhile because some of the queue times get crazy long in Tokyo. Even getting food can be crazy long. So with that, you can also get like dining vouchers, and I think it's really nice that they have like full packages, kind of like Disneyland Paris, where you can kind of get your dining included and stuff like that if you want. So I definitely think I would love to do that. But Sharon, you went to see 222 A Ghost Story on stage. It was so good. Yes, I've seen it twice. And yeah, that's such a fun show as well. And I do love that they're kind of bringing these spooky shows back. I also saw Ghost Stories a few years ago, which again was Reece Shearsmith and Steve Pemberton, who did Psychoville and A League of Gentlemen, Inside Number 9. And actually, I've got tickets. They're doing a new horror stage show next year, which is called Stage Fright. So as soon as I heard they were doing that, because they're like 2 of my favourite people, like anything they do, I will watch. So I'm so excited to see that. And again, just to have something spooky in the theatre is great. Yes, sorry, love the nostalgia of Disneyland Paris hotels. It's like going back to your childhood. I 100% agree. And I think that's something Disneyland Paris do amazingly well. Like, the theming's great. And, like, Hotel Cheyenne is one of my absolute favourites. Even though it's a value resort, I think it's one of the best hotels at Disneyland Paris. Like, the theming is incredible. It's so good. And I think that's something Disneyland Paris, like, I don't think there's a bad hotel at Disneyland Paris, honestly. I think it just depends on maybe the theme you prefer or your budget. But I think they're so, so good. But yes, Sharon, stage fright I think will be so exciting. And I think both Reece Shearsmith and Steve Pemberton are in it as well. Which is like another bonus for me, because to get to see them on stage will be amazing. Yes, Julia, love the smell of the Cheyenne. And it's interesting because some of the Disneyland Paris hotels, you can buy the scent in like a candle. But I don't think they have it at the Cheyenne. So I'm like, maybe they should do that, because I think like Art of Marvel in the Disneyland Hotel you can. I don't know if Newport Bay you can as well. But yeah, the Cheyenne is so cute. I absolutely love it. Laurie has said for the Tokyo stay, go to the Toy Story Hotel with a full package, and then you'll get guaranteed access to to Fantasy Springs as well. Because that's the thing at the moment. Like Fantasy Springs, it's one of those you have to have a reservation to get in. And but if you're staying at the hotel, you're guaranteed it, which is perfect. Because I've seen like people queuing at like 5 a.m. or something to try and make sure they can try and get in to Fantasy Springs, and I'm like, that is dedication. But that's something that is amazing about the Asian parks and Tokyo, I think in particular, because people really, really love the things they love. Like the character meets, for example, can be really long. I remember when it was Mickey's 90th birthday, at the time I was working in the Disney store, and we were hearing about like, oh, people queuing up to meet him on his birthday in the parks. And in Tokyo, it was a 16-hour queue to meet Mickey because it was his 90th birthday. And I was like, that is incredible. Like, that's wild. I don't think I'd queue 16 hours for literally anything. So I do love the dedication, but I do think that's why, if you can have a package where you can kind of get the guaranteed access to Fantasy Springs and like queue times for the most popular rides, it just makes your experience so much better. And I think that's the thing, isn't it? Especially because we probably won't be able to go to Tokyo as frequently as we would like. It's one of those trips you're like, even if I have to postpone the trip and save for longer, I'd rather do the full out, like get the whole shebang, the whole package, and have the full experience. So I think that'll be so, so, so good. Oh, Laura has said in Hong Kong, stay at Explorers Lodge and do the World of Frozen garden party. That sounds amazing. What is this garden party? It sounds so much fun. But I think their hotels in Hong Kong look beautiful, like really, really stunning. And again, I know my friend Derek was there, and I think he stayed at the Disneyland Hotel, which is kind of like the top tier hotel in Hong Kong. Very similar to like Disneyland Hotel in Paris or like the Grand Floridian in Florida. And it was about $250 a night compared to like $1,000 if you stay at the Grand Floridian or the Disneyland Hotel in Paris. So much, much more affordable, but you're still getting that really high level of service and decor and detail. So I was completely blown away. I was like, that's amazing. Because I don't know why, I just thought they would be really expensive to visit. It's not. Hi, Tilly girl, thank you for joining us. It's lovely to see you. Sharon, you said you just saw Pixar together in Disneyland Paris for the first time. I was so excited you got to see it. What did you think? I loved it. And what's really interesting about the show is because you can't film or take photographs, everyone going to see it is kind of going in blind. And I kind of love that, actually, that you don't know. You can't kind of look it up in advance. And I loved it. I cried. I thought it was brilliant. I thought there was really great use of technology. I thought it was fantastic. So I can't wait to hear what you think. Oh, thank you so much for joining us, Yuki. It's lovely to have seen you, and I hope you have a nice night's sleep. I also think you have a nice Halloween, because it's coming up so soon now. But thank you so much for chatting. It's been lovely. But yeah, I can't believe it's going to be Halloween soon. I'm like, I've still got so many horror films. This is the thing, like September, October, I always go in on the horror films. And I'm like, right, I have to cram as many horror films in as possible because it's spooky season. It feels normal. But I'm like, there's no law. I can watch them any time of the year. I don't have to just be like, right, like October, I've got to cram as many films in as possible just to watch them whenever you fancy. It's gonna be so good. But I'm very much enjoying Shudder at the moment. Like I say, it's uh a streaming service, but it's just horror films, and I absolutely love it. It's so good. I watched one today that was about two travel vloggers that did a travel series called Superhost. And then they went to this house, and then the Superhost was not that super. It's amazing. But Laurie has said the garden party is where you book a picnic under the stars and you get given a blanket and a picnic in a basket, sat in the garden next to the South China Sea watching the fireworks. Oh my god. That's incredible. I didn't even know that was a thing. That is stunning. What an amazing event to attend. That sounds next level cool. And I love that that's like so unique as well. You're not getting that in any other Disney park. That's amazing. Okay, this is also why you all need to find Laurie and have him for your travel agent, because you're getting all these tips and advice, which is incredible. But yeah, Sharon, you said Together was brilliant, and as you say, because there isn't any photos or videos, it's totally unexpected. And I think that's kind of really cool that you kind of don't know what to expect, and then it's like the way they kind of mix technology into the show, I thought was brilliant, and the storyline is great. You see so many characters, and also the mixture of languages I thought was really interesting how they do it. I think that's something Disneyland Paris do really well. But I did like that in Together it's the only show I've seen in Disneyland Paris, but there's also a bit of German as well as French and English, and I was like, oh, this is very fun. But Anna has said, not a horror theatre show or movie, but I'm so excited to see Stranger Things season 5. Yes, that will be so cool. Is that going to be the final season, or have I made this up? But I feel like we're building up towards the final season. It's one of those shows I've only seen. I think I've only seen part way through the first season, and I've enjoyed it. But you know, sometimes it just feels like there's so many things to watch that you get swamped, and I feel like I need to go back and get into Stranger Things because I really liked it. So I'm like, I feel really far behind now. So maybe I should watch it so that I'm up to date. So when season 5 comes out, I am ready. But Laurie said the water and the views from the castle of Frozen. Right, I'm reading this wrong. But like the idea of having a little picnic under the stars, watching the fireworks in the frozen like atmosphere, but not like as in you're freezing outside, but like getting to see the frozen land sounds stunning. This is a good question. Disneyland Paris, what is their range of animals like? Stuff like Aristocats and Fox and the Hound. I have seen some Aristocats merchandise there for sure. Fox and the Hound is really underrepresented. I don't think I've ever seen any merch for it, which is such a shame because it's such a cute and classic film. But I've definitely seen Aristocats, and they will have like they have ranges that are Disney dogs and Disney cats ranges. So they'll have like some accessories like bags that will be themed to either Disney dogs, Disney cats, stuff like that. But they really should do more because I'm like, everyone loves animals and everyone loves Disney animals. So if they could like do that more, that would be incredible. But I've definitely seen like a lot of Marie stuff, which is really good. Also they have specific pet ranges, which is really nice. So if you do have animals yourself, they have like bowls and like collars, stuff like that, which I think is so cute. They get a little touch of Disney as well. Although when I was in Disney World, they had a dog harness, which was the cast member costume from Haunted Mansion, and I was like, that's incredible. That's literally amazing. So that would be so good. Yeah, so he said the husband says definitely catch up with Stranger Things. Yes, I need to be ready, don't I, for when it comes out. Because the worst thing is if the series comes out and then you start hearing spoilers and you're like, oh no, and then you're like, I should have caught up beforehand because then it wouldn't have been a spoiler. It's awful. Although I've been quite lucky to avoid spoilers. Like, I was someone that I didn't read Harry Potter till I was an adult, which I don't know why, because Harry Potter, I was literally the perfect age. But I think I've always been a massive reader. And one of the weird things, like when I was in school, like say Harry Potter, I don't know what age I was when Harry Potter came out, but I was around the same age as Harry Potter. So say I was 11, my reading age was like 16 or something. So I was just like, it's beneath me, I can't be reading that. It's for kids. I'm not a kid, even though I was a kid. So I never got into Harry Potter. And then my friend, she was the same. She was like, never read it. Oh no, just don't think it's for me. But she loves Lord of the Rings. And then one time she was working with someone and they were like, I've never seen Lord of the Rings. You've never seen Harry Potter. Let's both watch the films and see who can finish them first. So then she watched the films and she was like, we were wrong. It's amazing. So then she went back and read the books and she's like, the books are even better. So she's like, you've got to read them. So I didn't read Harry Potter till I was an adult. However, I had no spoilers apart from, well, I don't want to like do a spoiler for anyone else on here that doesn't know, but a certain headmaster might come to an untimely end, and I knew that because I remember when it came out. And do you remember when, like, the books would be released? People would be at the bookshop at midnight and there would be speed readers who were reading the books within, like, a few hours. And then they'd be like, this happens. And then the national news would be like, this is what happens. And I remember it being on the national news. So I knew that was coming, but I didn't know when. But I literally had no spot. And I was like, I don't know how I've gone for, like, and managed to avoid spoilers. So I'm hoping my luck won't run out, but I'm going to try and get ahead with Stranger Things so that I don't ruin my luck. That'd be so good. So, and yes, Anna said it is going to be the final season. 3 and 4 are incredible. Oh, that's so good. It's nice, isn't it, actually, when a series builds and then it gets better and better as it goes on. Because some series, it like starts out great and then it kind of tapers off and it gets worse. And you're like, oh. But when it gets better, it's like, yes. But you know, you bought a Fox and the Hound Christmas decoration there, but it was a long time ago, and that is the one time I think that they sometimes do have rare characters is Christmas decorations. But yeah, it's such a shame, isn't it? Because they do a lot of Stitch. There's loads of Stitch. If you like Stitch, you can get loads of Disneyland Paris, and like the kind of Winnie the Poohs, you know, the kind of like big characters. But I'm like, oh, I'll do some of the rarer characters because they have such a big following, but we just never get any merch for them. It's just such a shame. But yeah, Fox and the Hound would be amazing. So maybe they still do a Christmas decoration. So that is one place to definitely look. And they do have the little Christmas shop that's in the castle itself, which I love that that's there all year round. So that's a great place to go and look. Anna said, this is how you started watching Stranger Things. You heard spoilers for season 4. And oh my god, I missed out before. So good. Yes, it's so difficult, isn't it? When you're just like, oh no, I found something out. And you're like, I didn't want to know. But I found out, so I'm just going to have to go with it. But it's like stuff like Marvel. I have kind of managed to avoid a lot of Marvel spoilers. There's some things that I've kind of heard, and I'm not just going to ignore that I've heard that. So I feel like I know some of the things that might happen, but I've, again, largely managed to avoid them. So I think when it gets, I haven't got to Endgame and Infinity War and all of those yet. So I feel like once I get to them, like that's when all the big things are going to happen. So I'm like, I need to just get, I think at the moment I'll be able to Doctor Strange. So I feel like I'm still a little way, but not too far away from them. So I just need to plough on. But this is the problem, isn't it? There's so many things to watch. I'm like, where is the time? Laurie, you're 100% right. We need Duffy in the West. I'm surprised Duffy hasn't started to come over here. Because Duffy, to the point where Duffy's more popular than like Mickey in the Asian parks. People are like, Mickey who? And like, I love that Duffy, there's a whole, like, him and his friends are a whole thing. I love Gelatoni, the cat. Like, I love that there's so many characters. And I'm surprised they haven't started putting merch in the parks over in the West because they're so cute. They're so cute. And it's saying Netflix put quite a lot of money into season 4 of Stranger Things, and you could totally see the difference. Oh, that's so interesting. And yeah, maybe Disney should do the same. And I think that's the problem, isn't it? Like Disney, they're just not even like, a lot of the Imagineers have been let go, and it just feels like all of the creative people at Disney, they've downsized, and they're like, we don't need creatives at Disney. And I'm like, I think you absolutely do. And it's mad to me that they don't see that the reason the films are tanking is because they're not having enough creative people coming up with ideas for films. And you're like, what are you doing? And yeah, there's no point in putting money into something that's going to fail. Like, put more money into something that you think is going to be really good. Like, I heard the other day, I was watching Behind the Attraction before I went to Disney World, and they were saying with Epcot, there used to be a ride called Maelstrom in the Norway Pavilion, which became Frozen ever after the ride. But what they'd actually decided is, whilst Frozen was being written as a film, they decided they were going to change Maelstrom to Frozen. At that point, they had no clue that Frozen was actually going to be successful. And, you know, there'd been like a 20-year gap where there hadn't been many super successful films. So that was such a massive risk, but it paid off. But I'm like, that's what you need. You need to just manifest it to be successful. That's what they need to do. And I said you used to love the Marvel movies, but it's just too much. Every character has their own season and a spin-off and what else. And yeah, I think that's the problem. I feel so swamped. And I've been watching them in the order that they happen in the Marvel universe, not the order that they came out in. But I feel like I've just scratched the surface and it just feels too overwhelming. Like there's too many things to... And that's the thing, like, however many I watch, by the time I finish them, there'll be another like 14 films and 15 TV series that have come out. So I feel like I'm never going to catch up. I'm never going to get on top of Marvel and finally see the end of it. I'm just going to be like always behind. Hi Roberto! Lovely to see you. Thank you for joining us. But yeah, I'm very excited. I love Halloween. I'm very distressed that today I saw that there was Christmas films on the TV. And when I went food shopping, there's all Christmas food. And I'm like, it hasn't even been Halloween, guys. Like, I have a very strict no Christmas talk before December. Like, I love talking about Disney Christmas and Disney Christmas trips, but like, as in, we have to introduce Christmas into our own lives. That's not happening until December. We can all calm down. We haven't even had Halloween. We can't even enjoy Halloween. They've gone, no, we're going to put Christmas films on. Put Halloween films on. It's absolutely wild. Laura, you're so right. Disney could do so much. Spooky Season Maleficent was the perfect chance for them for a cult following. Yes, and that's the thing. Like, Maleficent was great, and it's wild that they don't capitalise on it more. And it's just like, and do you know what would be interesting? Like I say, I don't like the live action remakes, but when you're getting films like Maleficent, where you're getting more of her backstory, I think people would prefer to see those sorts of films where you kind of flesh out the Disney villains and they get their own films, their own storylines. I think people would love that. And you do kind of get that in, I don't know if you've ever seen, they have like the book series, which is all about like the villains' backstories, which are really, really good. They could absolutely capitalise on that. So it's weird that they're not, but it's just like what's happening. 100% agree, Natalie. Christmas decor now is a no-no. Don't put Christmas decorations up before the first week of December after Thanksgiving. 100%. I'm not American, and I'm 100%. I'm like, Thanksgiving has to come first. Like, it's not even possible in my mind that anything to do with Christmas can happen before Thanksgiving. I'm totally with you. Zoe, you're so right. Ursula needs her own story. Would love that. I think people would absolutely love these films. Could you imagine getting like a whole backstory as to Ursula and how she got to be the way she is? And like, I love Ursula because I'm not a big Ariel fan. I just feel like Ariel, you got to get a grip. She's such a bad female role model to be like, I've seen a boy I fancy. I'm going to give up everything, including my actual voice. And I'm like, get a grip. And she signed a contract. I don't even think Ursula's a villain. She was a business person. Ariel didn't read the small print. Like, I think it's bad that we've cast her as a villain. I think she's just a savvy businesswoman. But I would love to see more of her. Yes, Laurie, as to do the backstories on the villains, which is great because it like, and they often do deals where it's like 2 for like £7.50 or £8. So they're like a really, really great way to read them, and they're all really good. Like, I've enjoyed everyone I've read, and I read the Ursula one. That was really, really good. Alison, I love this, and we've talked about this earlier, but I'm glad you're bringing it up so that we can all take a complete vote on this and have this decided once for all. Is Nightmare Before Christmas a Halloween film or a Christmas film? I am firmly in the it's a Christmas film camp. Yes, they're from Halloween Town, but it's clearly a Christmas film. That is my belief. Like, we covered it earlier. Like, I did mention it as a Halloween because I know some people consider it a Halloween film. But I am firmly in it's a Christmas film camp. So we need to all decide once and for all. Let me know what you think. Donna said, out of curiosity, did you ever watch the Little Mermaid series growing up? So I did not know there was a TV series. Didn't know that. I saw the film growing up. And loved Ursula. Loved the song. And I actually like all the songs, I think, in Little Mermaid. But I just really disliked Ariel. Even as a kid, I knew, like, get a grip. Like, I just, like, I never liked her. And I'm just like, just get back in the sea. Just stop. He's not worth it. I'm not about this. Like, if the storyline was kind of like, oh, she wants to explore the world and not be confined to being a mermaid, I'd think fine. But when she's like, I fancy a boy, so I'll just give up everything for him, I think, oh God, Ariel, what are you doing? It's so funny. And it was interesting to me that when they did the remake and they were talking about, because you know, like Beauty and the Beast, they were all like, oh, we want her to be more like, she's like really scientific herself, and it's not just like her dad was a scientist and she was just his daughter, like she was supposed to be like intelligent, and they wanted to flesh her out that way. But with Ariel, they were like, we're going to make some updates to this film, but they were like, but she could still be basic and just give up everything for a boy. And I thought that's terrible. That's the thing you should have actually changed. You should have updated that bit, which was so funny. Although I have to say, I don't like the live action remakes, but the Little Mermaid was one of the only ones that I liked. And I think that's probably because I didn't really like the animated version, so I didn't go in with any expectations. Whereas all of the other ones, I've loved the animated versions and then hated the live actions to the point where I've never watched Beauty and the Beast since the live action. It completely ruined Beauty and the Beast. Maybe I should do that. Maybe I should watch the animated Beauty and the Beast so I can fall in love with it again. Alison agrees it's a Christmas film. Laurie agrees it's Christmas, 100%. But yes, Laurie is going to go to Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party and meet Jack. That's going to be iconic. Like, so cool. Donna, I need to go and see this Little Mermaid episodes then. She finds a new human thing. See, that's another thing that annoys me about her. And I know I shouldn't, because actually, she wouldn't know what they are, right? She doesn't live in the human world. When she's like, what's this thingamabob? I'm like, oh, it's a fork, it's a fork. I'm like, I don't know why. I think I've just taken such a dislike to her. No matter what she does, I'm just like, oh, it's Ariel. So maybe I need to watch this show, and I'll come round to her. Hi Anna, thank you so much. And yeah, 5 a.m. is a very, very early start, so it absolutely makes sense. And thank you so much for joining us and chatting. It's been absolutely lovely. And yeah, it's always lovely to see you. So have a nice night, and I hope you have a good week as well. But yes, sorry, Beauty and the Beast live action was so bad. I can't, like, when it started, and like, let's be frank, Emma Watson cannot sing. When she was singing the opening song, I was just like, this is horrific. The fact that Ewan McGregor was married to a French woman for 23 years, and that was the French accent he came up with, I was like, what is this? Like, the whole thing was just so bad. And I think that's the problem, isn't it? Like, a lot of the live action remakes are not popular. So they've kind of just ruined the originals because it's easy. Like, you don't have to write a script. You don't really even have to do much marketing because people already know what Beauty and the Beast or what Aladdin or whatever it is. So they're just skimping out on all of these things because it's easy. And it's like, but it's ruining. You're ruining your legacy. So if you could stop doing that. Or like we said before, the only like remakes I want to see are Muppets. If they did the Muppets do Beauty and the Beast, I would burst. Like, I can only imagine how incredible that would be. So that's what I want. And also Disney needs to do more with the Muppets. So if they did Muppet remakes, it's a win-win. Donna, you said the series gives more credibility to her. Like, she's wanted to be a human long before Eric popped up. And he was just a catalyst. Okay, so that's interesting. So maybe I do need to go and watch that. But yeah, I really... It's probably a good thing they did that series, because I'm just like, I can't. She's like the worst feminist icon you could have. And I'm like, yes, she has amazing hair, but everything else about her is terrible. Interesting, sorry, Pinocchio is really bad too. I haven't seen that because I really like Pinocchio. So I'm like, oh, like Snow White, I don't even think they should bother releasing it. There's been so much controversy about it before it's even come out. And I just think, again, like, they just keep doing everything wrong. So when they were like, we can't have dwarves, and I'm like, well, why? Because I could understand if they were like, we don't want to make a film and we're worried about portraying people who are little people that have dwarfism in a certain way. But I'm like, but I don't think the film does that. Like, the Seven Dwarfs... Oh, sorry, my cat just sneezed. It terrified me. You okay? Okay, good. But like, they aren't like figures that are kind of mocked. They're kind of really central to the storyline. So I think it's weird they were like, we're not having the dwarfs, and then they replaced them with the seven magical figures or whatever they were called, and they were horrific. And then because there was so much outrage about that, they've actually scrapped those people, and now they've put CGI dwarfs in, which I think is even worse because little people exist, and little people actors have so few roles. And I know there's been a lot of controversy, hasn't there? Because Peter Dinklage was like, they shouldn't have little people in Snow White and Seven Dwarfs, and he had a big thing about it, which is why Disney then decided not to do that. And then every other dwarf actor on Earth said, well, no, hang on. Like, we don't get any opportunities. This would be the perfect vehicle for us because it's the one time we would be able to be fairly cast. My theory is that Peter Dinklage wants to be, like, the only dwarf actor, which is why he was like, no one else can have a role. And I know he's annoyed a lot of people in the little people community with his comments because obviously Disney then listened to him. But I'm like, it just sounds like a disaster. And then, like, the actress playing Snow White has spoken out about it, and I just think it's awful. And Snow White is one of my absolute favourites, so I'm not even going to risk seeing it. I'm not even going to risk it. It's no good. Laurie says, I would love a Disney Fraggle Rockland. That would be incredible. Could you imagine how fun that would be? The Fraggles were so good. But he said that Disney would have to get the rights of the Henses as they kept the Fraggles. Yeah, which makes sense. And I don't know if they're like in financial difficulty, but I know they've just sold off the studios. So the iconic studios that people used to be able to visit have gone, which is such a shame. So I'm like, please don't be in trouble. But yeah, Disney definitely needs to do more with Muppets because they're like, they own it. I don't know why they're not doing more. And like I say, like a couple of years ago when they did release the Muppets Haunted Mansion, it was brilliant. Had all your favourite Muppets, all of the gags, all of the references to the ride. Like, it was like a dream. I don't know why they're not doing that more. Do it for everything. Star Wars, Muppets version, I would burst. It would be literally incredible. Like, and that's the thing, isn't it? Like, as soon as you start thinking of these films, you automatically start thinking, like, which Muppets would play which characters. And there's so many Muppets that they could all fit in. Like, they all would be a perfect match for all of these iconic Disney characters. So I just love it. But maybe that's what the thing. I'm gonna have to force my dad to let me meet Michael Eisner. I'm just gonna burst in on a meeting, and then just be like, Muppet versions of Disney things. And just be like, pitch it, Michael, pitch it. Just go tell Bob Iger, this is what you need. This is gonna save Disney, and it'll be the best thing ever. That's the one thing I think that Michael Eisner really messed up with, was the fact that Harry Potter was supposed to go to Animal Kingdom instead of Pandora. And he kind of argued with J.K. Rowling, and he kind of was like, I'm the big boss here, and I'm going to tell you what to do. And she's like, Harry Potter's my creation, I'll do whatever I want with it. Like, you're not going to boss me around and make me back down over my creation. And at that time, Universal was struggling a lot, and Disney kind of ended up handing like the golden ticket to Universal, which is what I actually think, if Harry Potter had gone to Disney, Universal could have gone out of business. At least they would have really deteriorated, like, would not have been at the level they are now. They certainly wouldn't be building a third theme park without Harry Potter. Like, Harry Potter absolutely put them on the map because it kind of showed they can do that really immersive theming with lands. And of course, Harry Potter's so big, you get so many people visiting. And it really, really boosted them massively. So I think that's something he really did mess up, which is no fun. But yeah. But could you imagine the crossover merch there would have been? Like, Mickey in his wizarding, like, outfit. Like, it would have been literally incredible. Like, two of the biggest franchises on Earth combining. However, we didn't have that, but I'm very excited for Epic Universe. We've just had all of the details come out, and it looks absolutely incredible. It looks so, so good. Like, next year, I think it's going to be next level insane. And I'm really excited about the Dark Universe. Like, the fact that we're going to have a Universal Monsters land is incredible. I've just been seeing they've been releasing more and more details. So the quick service restaurant is going to be vampire themed. And all of the staff are going to be dressed as vampires. And I'm like, well, that's incredible. And that's just a quick service restaurant. That's not even a table service restaurant. So I just think it's going to be so Good. So yeah, we've got so many amazing things coming up. What time to be a theme park fan? It's difficult, isn't it? Because on the one hand, theme parks at the moment, you know, with rising prices, it's really, really hard to visit them because it's just getting so unbelievably expensive. And then on the flip side, there's loads of new things coming, so you want to visit. And in the next couple of years, when there's going to be loads of changes happening in the Disney parks, you're going to get the Universal Park in the UK. Like the next 10 years are going to be so exciting because not only are we going to get loads of new things, we're also going to be getting everyone competing with each other. Like everyone's going to have to step their game up to keep getting people to come to visit them. So I think it's a great time to be alive. But I'm hoping at some point the prices will come down because it is getting completely unreasonable. So it's not the one, but maybe that's the thing. Maybe it's just a Halloween thing. They're like, let's just make everyone really scared of the prices, and then maybe like 1st of November they'll be like, haha, it was just a joke. We're just trying to scare you, because that is literally the scariest thing about Disney, isn't it? Is how much it costs you to visit. But no, I hope you've all been having a lovely weekend, and I hope you all have a lovely Halloween. And if you are doing anything, I hope you have the best time. If whether it's watching films, maybe it's having some spooky treats, maybe you're going to a party, or as we've seen, lots of people are actually going to Disney in the next couple of days or weeks. So I hope you have the most amazing time. It's always so exciting knowing people that are about to go, and just can't wait to hear about your experiences and what it's like. Laurie, you said you think the prices will come down. I totally agree. I think there will be a tipping point where they start realising, like, oh, we've lost so much custom, that because this is the thing, I think what they're trying to do at the moment is price a lot of people out and just go for the people that have a lot of money, but then there'll be fewer people in the parks. But I think what will happen is that will become unsustainable at some point, and they're like, oh, actually we're gonna have to reduce the prices because just no one's coming now. So yeah, I think it's gonna be interesting to see the next couple of years what happens. And yeah, but I hope you all have a lovely Halloween time. Thank you so much for joining me. As I say, I love the theme, the live streams are some of my favourite time of the month because it's so fun to get to interact. It would be more amazing if it was like Zoom and like everyone could see each other. But it's so nice to chat, and thank you for joining again. And I never take it for granted that you take time out of your evening to come and chat and speak about everything Disney. Next month I don't have a theme yet, so do let me know if there's anything, because normally with these we will have like a planning topic and like base it around that to kind of like give tips and advice. But I was like, oh, because it's Halloween, let's talk about Halloween, particularly like in the parks and on Disney Plus. So if there's anything you'd like next month to be about, do let me know. And yeah, in the meantime, we're going to have more Disney World vlogs, the 2 dining reviews a week, and a planning video. So still lots more to come in the next couple of weeks before the next live stream, which will be the last Sunday of November. So it won't be long. But thank you so much for joining me again. And yeah, it's been absolutely lovely to chat to you. Alison, that's a good point. We could do a Christmas themed one. We could talk about what you can experience in the parks. Also Christmas things on Disney Plus. That could be super fun, because Christmas, I actually think, is the most amazing time of year to go to Disney because it's so magical. And I'm not like a big Christmas person. However, in Disney, I've never felt more Christmassy. I was like so into it. I was like suddenly like, have I become a Christmas person now? And they are stunningly beautiful as well. So maybe that would be a great topic, because it would also be really fitting because we'll be heading into December a few days after the live stream, so that would be so perfect. But yeah, thank you so much, everyone, and yeah, I hope you have a lovely spooky rest of the month. And until next time, I will see you. Oh, I suppose I should end it properly, isn't it? Until next time, I hope you have a most magical day. We should do the proper ending. Don't try out something else. Do the proper ending. But see you all soon. Oh no, this is the bit I always can't find the way to exit. See you later. Bye.